This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all of you from wherever you may be in the world this afternoon to andBeyond and Ngala. And what we have here is a buffalo skull, and quite interestingly it's actually been kicked kind of like into the middle of the road. It's normally on the side of the road, and this particular buffalo skull is quite a good indicator and a good landmark for us all to use. This particular buffalo was killed probably about 4 or 5 years ago by the Birmingham Pride, and I'm currently on my way to kind of have a look at the spot where we last saw them this morning. But a very warm welcome to you all to the African bush. Welcome to your very own live safari. Welcome back, everybody, and I know I said a very warm welcome. Have a look, we've just come into a little bit of a cloud burst. I mean, it's 30 degrees, as we say, and I remember as a child we always used to say when it's hot and sunny like this and it starts to rain, bit of a monkey's wedding. Literally out of nowhere, a little cloud burst. But good afternoon, I'm Daniel Fisher, and on camera this afternoon we've got Odie. Odie's currently busy trying to keep our equipment dry in the back here, and hopefully he does a good job so that we can keep going for the rest of the afternoon. And I don't think this rain's going to stick around for too long. We're just going to try and stick it through for the next short while. It's actually incredibly beautiful. I am parked half under a tree, maybe not enough. I'm just going to edge forward a little bit so we can stay dry, but this is quite insane, actually. Have a look at that. I mean, but you can even capture all that rain that's coming down over there. 30 degrees, African sun beating down on us, and a bird in the distance somewhere there. I didn't even see it. I saw it on the camera. The smell is actually incredible when you get this rain like this, particularly the first rains of the season. Obviously, it's been raining quite a lot for the past few months, but I'm going to stick around, see if I can maybe get some shade for now and get out of this rain. But for the meantime, I'm going to send you to a proper weather report for the afternoon.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to A Monkey's Wedding here live in Djuma Private Game Reserve, where the kudus are on the dam wall again. And my name is Steve Falconbridge in Final Control Dam Cam Hot Seat. The rain was pouring down a few minutes ago. Lauren raced back in to get all prepared for the rain. And the reason I call it A Monkey's Wedding, everybody, a typical afternoon thunder shower in these parts of the world where the rain is falling, but yet the sun is shining, because the sun is obviously over towards the west and the rain is directly above. So you can see that the rain is falling on the water there, and it was falling quite strongly a moment ago. But something growing up in Johannesburg that was very common at sort of this time in the afternoon after a really warm day, very sticky and humid and hot, and always you'd get these wonderful thunderstorms that would pass by quite quickly. It's not necessarily the same cyclonic belt that we've had over the last few weeks that just blankets the sky and rains for days. It just comes in, there's a bit of a downpour, and then the sun emerges again. And there we go, the rain itself has stopped, and now it started again. Little bits of bits of dribbles, just like that, little waves of rain. And Kudu on the left took the wrong turn. They're like, we're going down this way, and off they go again. Lana, I don't know offhand which antelope's got the longest horns. Kudu probably, because their horns spiral. Ooh, Someone is taking control. I need to take control of the damn cam, whoever the Zoomy is who's assisting me there. I do apologize for stealing your thunder for now, but unfortunately I'm in the throes of discussing these kudus. So I reckon the kudu have got pretty decent long horns. Offhand, I can't think of another one due to the fact that the kudu's horns spiral. They seem to be the longest. But I know many of the viewers out there love to ask us these questions that I don't always have the answers to. They're definitely longer than the waterbuck we got the other day. Kudu horns. I've seen some incredibly long kudu horns. I've seen some incredibly long sable horns as well. So kudu horns can get up to a total length of 187 centimeters, which is very, very long. And it's because they twist. It's not a straight line, so they measure the twist. But on average, they get about 1.2 meters, which is very long. And they're very heavy. Our waterbuck bull the other day had big horns, but the longest they get is only 99 centimeters. Well, it seems like Lauren is braving the weather. Let's go say good afternoon to her.
I am indeed somewhere over the rainbow. Apparently bluebirds fly. Look at that beautiful view. Now, I am just going to conceal my swollen face from you all, but my name is still Lauren and I do have Davi on camera and my face remains the same. I do not want to scar you all, but the weather, on the other hand, I'm really not sure what's happening here. We came out into glorious sunshine, then we got rained on, and now the wind has picked up a tenfold. But we've got our roof on, so we shall be absolutely fine. So I must remember you all to talk to us today, especially if the weather gets bad. You must keep us going. And you can do that in many different ways. You can use the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. You can use @FC on the YouTube chat. You can also register on the WildEarth website. Head over to the live safari page and put your questions there. And kids, most importantly, you must email us. And that address is kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. My hat's going to blow off. And once again, before I forget, we are going to try and name the hyenas today. I do think they'll be there a little bit later, so we'll go along and make sure you're all aware of their names. It's very, very exciting. Now, we had dogs for you this morning, but one thing we didn't have was signal. It was very frustrating. Pack of wild dogs and 3 hyenas. Can you believe it? I have no ideas why the hyenas would be following the dogs. Do you? But yes, unfortunately we didn't have signal. But that's okay, they're over in Simbambili. So again, it leaves us with a little bit of an option for later. There, you're saying this rainbow is beautiful. It absolutely is, but the weather is not. Maybe we won't travel that far after all. Buffelshoek is working, so I've got lots of things on the agenda today. It's going to be a very, very busy afternoon. But the hyenas, well, that's the most important thing. We need to announce all of the names to you all, and a poll will open, so you'll all get the chance to vote for your favourite name. I am also going to vote. And that will be announced on Friday. So I don't know whether we should check the den first. What do you think, Davi? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to bumble and fight against this wind for now, and we're going to send you all the way down to Tswalu with Deirdre.
Good afternoon and welcome to Tswalu. We're just sitting at one of our water holes, sitting in the shade because it's a right royal toasty 33 degrees this afternoon. You with me, Deirdre, and on camera, Morgan. And if you look behind me, we unfortunately also have some weather. We're going to dodge it as much as possible, but we have just heard a rumble from there, which means that there is some potential for lightning that far. So you can hear probably some of the chittering of the sociable weaver's nest. We've got one right behind us, and there are a couple of them here. This is a serious home for the sociable weavers. It's probably a little bit in the shade, but you see them coming in and out from the bottom, and you're hearing quite a lot of them. It just always amazes me at how these trees hold up these massive nests. So other birds and other animals will also use those nests. They'll sit on top of them, so we found African wildcat on top. The male cheetahs here tend to climb the trees and scent mark on top of the weaver's nest, so we found my very first sighting of cheetah at Tswalu was in one of these trees on top of one of these weaver's nests. And owls as well. Some of the raptors will use the top of the nest as a nest site. Let's see what we've got here at the dam. Oh, it doesn't help that I'm sitting on my binoculars, so I've got to get them out the box first before I can see. Morgan can show you there's a chunk that's already fallen off the tree, and that's exactly what will happen. Is the sheer weight of the water on that grass weighs that grass down, that eventually that tree limb can't hold it anymore, and that does break. They tend to abandon that section of the nest if there are any chicks or anything in that nest, but do sometimes recycle the material if they can. I'm just going to scan around the edge of the dam and see if there's anything else. This is really just a temporary puddle from after the rains. This one isn't very deep at all. All I can see on the edge is lots of little butterflies. There's some namakwa doves that have come down to drink just below that nest. So Fiona is asking, why is part of the waterhole green? So what happens is sometimes you'll get, because there's material in the water, now it's suddenly flooded, that's almost like a little bit of an algal bloom. So that's actually algae that does that, and in some areas that can actually turn to becoming quite toxic. You can have, there's a blue-green algae called a cyanobacteria that is quite toxic, that if animals ingest that, it can actually kill them if they keep drinking it. So this one doesn't seem to be too bad. This is just a normal sort of algae, but that's as a result of the sudden wet areas that there's that bloom. And often you'll see animals, if that's the case, if that sort of sheet is on the water, they'll choose to drink somewhere else, or they'll often walk into the water if that's on the edge and drink a little bit further into the water. Can you see the little namakwa dove there on the edge, just below the nest? Awesome. We've just heard news that Dan has found his cat. We're going to send you across there.
Welcome back, everybody, and already it's a completely different scene to what it was 3 minutes ago. It seems to have stopped raining. That little cloud downpour, as you can see, we got incredibly wet. The top of the bonnet is soaked. My binoculars are soaked. My rain jacket is soaked. The equipment is dry, though, so we are still out, and the rain cloud has moved on. And I think that rain actually did us an incredibly big favor. So this morning, this Ross male was maybe 200 meters off the road. You can see his big mane, and there's another 3 lions that are lying not too far away from us here as well, and they're lying right here underneath these bushes. And I think what's actually happened is this rain has caused them to come and find shelter under these little quarries. And very similar to humans, when we arrived here, they were all huddled right underneath this quarry, right on top of each other. Very similar to humans. I mean, the rain won't have too much of an impact on these lions, but if it becomes uncomfortable, they will try and seek shelter and try and get out of it as much as they can. Oh, there's a few more tails flicking in the back there. Those lions seem to have found some shade under that quarry as well. But luckily for us, they picked the ones that are maybe 2 meters off the road. I didn't even have to spend much time looking for them. I was also trying to find a tree close by to keep us dry, but it seems to have moved on. And these lions are seeming to catch some rest now as well. But it's so amazing to see this Ross male back with a few of the Birmingham Pride members. I wonder if his presence being here this afternoon and this morning might encourage this pride to rejoin in the next couple of days. I don't know where he's come from. I was trying to find out this morning. I was driving in the west, in the east, in the south, trying to see if I could see single male lion tracks coming from a direction. I couldn't manage to find it, and I'm afraid, so he seems to have just appeared. But I'm going to stick around, see if they don't do anything, particularly later on this afternoon and evening. I'm sure these lions are going to get up and move around.
If you love to watch WildEarth, then we are inviting you to join our Explorers program. For a monthly subscription, you will have the opportunity to win fantastic WildEarth expeditions. Join our guides for a chat around the fire, receive weekly highlights from our shows, and much more. All the money will go to keeping these live safaris on air, which in turn allows us to escape into nature every single day.
Being a safari driver requires some serious multitasking ability. You've got to be able to talk, look at the road, steer, and occasionally get the vehicle into the right gear.
Do not crash into any trees. Oh, not a dozy.
Just jump into the car and hope for the best, and you'll see where it takes you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm surprised they're moving as fast as that didn't go well.
Who is the best driver? Well, me, of course, although some of the cam ops might disagree.
Hi, my name is Tristan Dix, and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for WildEarth. We love connecting you to the African bush, and we always look forward to all of your questions. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you'll need to register on the website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit a question below the live feed. Catch up with me on WildEarth.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Africa is very special, and when you come down here, even when you're watching through our camera, the landscapes change from desert to bushveld to up in the Masai Mara where there's grassland. That means that the biodiversity changes as we move along Africa. And what I love most about connecting with you guys is the fact that I get to share these wonderful experiences with thousands of people.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Look who's out nice and early, everybody. Isn't this lovely? And Tima, I know I'm anthropomorphizing here and I shouldn't be, but she looks shattered. I don't know if it's possible for an animal to look tired, but she does. She looks full as well. That's for sure. Oh. Something scared them this morning. And I really don't know what it was, but something scared all the hyenas. We had such a lovely, lovely sighting. And they all just disappeared so rapidly, which was so unfortunate. But everyone, I know the whole clan are not here. Well, they are here. We just can't see them. But I think we're going to run through some of the names. I think we should do that. So we're going to run through Hearts 2 and Corky's Daughter. And then we'll announce the names for the poll for Junebug. Oofed, there's a terrible smell coming my way. So everyone, Hearts Daughter, chosen by the Djuma team, Michelle and all the guides at Djuma, is Gingerika. Now it's going to flash up on the screen at some point, and it means always busy. Gingerika. And I quite like that because, well, there's lots of ways you can shorten that name, and she is definitely always busy. Now, Heart's son, who of course will never be as dominant as his sister, no matter how hard he tries. He will never ever be as dominant. His name is Pumela, and that means subservient, but in a nice way, in a way where the individual is more submissive. And of course, the males are always more submissive than the females. So, Heart's son and daughter, Gingerika and Pumela. I think they're gorgeous. What do you think, Davi? Love it. Okay. Corky's Daughter. Now, this one was chosen again by the Djuma team, and it was chosen, it's an English name, and it was chosen to reflect her true personality. And the name is Braveheart. And it is truly believed that she has a she's brave with a huge heart, and I think that's perfect. Easy to remember, can be shortened down, and she really is a brave little bunny who fought against all odds, and of course she's just full of love. Corky's Daughter just wants to be part of absolutely everything that's going on. So that's the 3 names that have been chosen, and for Junebug, that's obviously just a nickname at the minute, we're going to give you a choice of 3, and we want you to vote. We want to hear which name that you like the best, and I guess the name with the most votes will win. So please, please, please make sure, everybody, that you do vote. It will be announced on Friday at sunset, so you've got plenty of time to think about it, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you all the names. So the first name is Navella, and this means adore. Navella. The second name is Yimisela, and that means determined. The third name is Try again, okay. Shikleko. Is that right, Davi? Shikleko. Basically, yes, the spelling will come up on the screen, and it means giggles. So that's your 3 names. Please, please, please vote. Head on to Twitter. #WildEarth.
I think Gwen was giving you the pronunciation.
Oh, Gwen, you can say it one more time. Michelle has taught me numerous times over. Shikleko. Shikleko. There we go, we got it. I think that was a lot better than my first attempt, and it means giggles. So in English, you have adored, determined, and giggles. So please do choose your favorite name, and I can't wait. I already have a favorite, but I won't say. Do you have a favorite, Darby?
I do.
You do? Okay, let's not say. And Tima girl, what is wrong? Something happened this morning that scared off everybody, and I just feel she's not relaxed. And she should be relaxed. And Tima, of all people, of all hyenas, are very familiar with the vehicles.
Harley says they're all beautiful names.
Harley, you're saying they're all beautiful names. Yes, they are. It's going to be very difficult to make a choice. Try and see if you can pronounce them all first, and then make your choice. But they're absolutely stunning. I love all the names. I love the fact that they all have names. So now we don't have to say heart son, heart daughter. And when you're looking at heart son and daughter, it's quite difficult to tell the difference. But when you're looking at the daughter, she now has a sort of tear, or I don't even know if I would say tear, but a cut in her right ear, right in the middle. And it's very prominent and very obvious. So when you're looking at them both, you are tired, Djuma. So when you're looking at them both, just look at the ears, and immediately you'll know the daughter because of that cut in her right ear. It's a very easy way to identify her already. Djuma, I think you need to sleep. This is her first time being a mommy. She looks hot, slightly uncomfortable and tired. But isn't she beautiful? And Djuma's stunning. Perfect ears. And that's actually the best way to identify her, because all the females in the Djuma clan have unique ears, and Djuma's the only one whose ears are pretty much perfect. Out of all the adults, at least. LJ, I don't. Sadly. If only they would. But we don't talk hyena, and they definitely do not talk any of our human languages. I'm afraid they won't recognize our name. And the reason we do name them, of course, is just we have quite a large clan now. Imagine saying hyena 1, hyena 2, hyena 3. Could get a little bit mundane and a little bit complicated, and therefore we do give them names. It's a lot easier to talk about them, follow the lineages, understand their behavior, their personalities. I'm a firm believer that, well, each individual animal has its own personality. Even a mosquito. We just don't really know mosquitoes that well. And there's actually a wonderful quote, and it's basically, even if we could speak the language of a lion, we would never understand him. And unless you can really put your mindset into the mind of another organism, you will never fully understand them. Trying to understand how they perceive their world, how they view everything around them, is almost impossible, especially when we take it from a human point of view. So sadly, they don't know their names. But I'm glad we managed to do this. At least today is semi-active for now, and we've managed to announce all the names. So for now, we're going to send you down to Deirdre with some giraffes.
And here we are. We're at Kudu Dam, and we've got some giraffe that have come down to drink. So he has been drinking, and then he was actually quite far in the water drinking, and then he moved around the bush, and now he's standing there and he's looking at the one on the opposite side. There's an entire journey that's just off camera at the moment to the left. They're in the bushes, but we're hoping that they will come across shortly. They do look as if they are making their way to the water, and not like him that's leaving the water. So floating around on the water at this. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, there's that one. He's just been having a snack. That particular one, on the edge. They'll always approach water quite slowly. They're never in a hurry to drink water. They'll always feed, look around, because they do feel vulnerable when they put their head down to drink. They do take their time to come down to drink. He must have seen something. That look on his face suggests that he's seen something at his feet. Yeah, the others are starting to come to the water too. Here we go. So this is a young female and another male. actually... So he's doing a little bit of a phlegm and grimace there. You can actually see he's lifting his upper lip. So she's probably just urinated, or she's had her tail up. And he, just before we came over to them, he was smelling in that area, and that's when you get that phlegm and grimace where they curl that top lip back, almost as if they're smiling. And that's the fastest way for the scent to go through the vomeronasal gland up to the brain to be interpreted whether she would be an estrus or not. He's a relatively young male giraffe, so it wouldn't necessarily say that she'd be interested in his advances. How did the giraffe cross the dam? I think that's what he's contemplating, is how does he get to where he wants to go without getting stuck in the water? Kylie is asking the question, what do females use their ossicones for? So it's almost more decorative in the females. The males use them more for fighting, but the females, sometimes they'll sort of rub up and down. I've seen males use them sometimes to hook vegetation to bring it a little bit further down so that they can eat it, but not really the females. They're just more decorative. You can actually see these two giraffe are very, very light in color. That's not the camera, that's just Kalahari. The giraffe in this area tend to be much, much lighter in color, and that'll be just the genetics of the giraffe in the area. Being lighter in color will help reflect a lot of the heat. It'll help keep their core temperature lower. So it probably is sort of the gene gets selected in that direction because they're more successful. So both of those are males. We've got the whole journey of females is now coming to the left. There's at least... There were 3 there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's at least 10 here that I can see at the moment. We'll show you all the others. We are literally surrounded by a journey of giraffe. Don't forget, you can keep asking all your questions at #WildEarth and then put at FC in front of the question if you want to engage with us. There's a kudu standing underneath the tree. He's standing dead still, but he's hidden in the shadow. There, do you see him, Morgan? I can't explain that. I don't know what that was. The giraffe, there's the kudu, if you can see him in the shot. He's just standing dead still in the shade. A nice male kudu. I don't quite know what that hop, skip and the jump was for that giraffe, but... the next one just did it too. That one just bent down and smelt something on the ground and then did exactly the same thing. So we're going to stick around here at the dam for a little bit, and we're going to send you across to Dan for a lion update.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks, Deirdre. We've just moved a little bit, and we've come to see those other 2 older cubs. I say older cubs, I mean they're still under a year old. Look at them rolling around head to head. Wonder which one's going to get tired of the other one's breath first and roll back over. But they're still very small cubs. I mean, they're still very vulnerable to all sorts of predation around, and they also seem to have found a good spot to escape the rain, although it seems to have gone for now. It might be coming back. All we can do is wait and see. And they are taking it quite easy. It's quite interesting as well. As we drove in, the first sign that we saw, and now they've just flown away. So that sign is gone. It was 2 hooded vultures, though. They were hanging around, and hooded vultures, particularly hooded vultures, are a really good sign for predators around. When you see them around, you're almost certain that there'll be either a carcass or some predators around. And what they'll be doing around here, there is no carcass. mean, if there was one earlier this morning or late last night, it's definitely gone by now. But what they'll do is these lions will actually go and defecate around this area, and those herd vultures will move around and kind of eat the scat that these lions leave, and it's still incredibly rich in protein. I mean, a lion's diet is exclusively meat, and when they do move around, they're still getting lots of nutrients, even if it is the remains of a carcass being passed out by a lion. And when you drove in here, and I actually got a bit excited seeing the two hooded vultures, thinking that maybe the lions had made a kill during the day, which is not unheard of. I mean, everybody thinks lions move around exclusively at night, and yes, they do prefer to move around at night. It's much cooler and they can conserve energy, and they have the cover of darkness. But as we were leaving here this morning, there was a large herd of wildebeest and impalas around. There's also water not too far away here that I'm sure that herd of impala and wildebeest would frequent. I mean, they hang around this area quite often. And I was really hoping that there was going to be a kill around, but not this afternoon. It's not to say that later it won't happen. I think, particularly with the presence of that male, there will be some activity here this afternoon, and I'm really hoping it's actually a dry area as well. I'll be very cautious, but we might be able to even follow them a bit, which will be very exciting this afternoon. That being said, I hope I'm not over-promising and under-delivering here, but if they do get up and move around, it will provide for a fantastic afternoon. And as I'm saying that, the rain is just starting to fall again. That lioness has popped her head up, and I wonder if she's not going to try and seek some more shelter. Look at the little one as well. They're feeling the rain. The wind is also picking up. Be interesting if this isn't another cloud burst. Actually seems like it's coming from the south. I seem to recall it raining in Djuma. So I wonder if it's coming from, it looks like it's coming from the south. I wonder how bad the rain in Djuma is. I'd love to actually get a little update on that. These lions have actually stood up as well, so I'm going to turn her up. She gets probably going to go and try and find a better place to hide from the rain. I might go and try and find some shade, but not be too far away from these lions in case they do get up.
It is fantastic seeing you all again. Those who haven't met me, my name is Dylan, in what is undoubtedly a very, very, very green Kalahari from what we were looking at a couple of months ago. We will be doing our very first fireside chat for WildEarth. So if you can join us on the 13th at about 7:30 after game drive, it would be an absolute pleasure. We'll see you there.
Sign up to become an explorer and join them by the fire straight after the sunset safari.
Sometimes love wants to make you sing. And sometimes love wants to make you bow and fan your wings to your bow. For the southern yellow-billed hornbill, these are signs that love is in the air. These birds are destined for a season of monogamy at least. Breeding pairs are in it for the survival of their chicks. But before love commences, the male needs to woo his valentine with food in the form of nuptial gifts.
I'm Nikki here at andBeyond in Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the WildEarth website, head across to the Live Safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next WildEarth drive.
The croc is still holding another one there. It's holding from the hindquarters. I would really want. The wildebeest cross, is it trying? The croc is holding the tail. It's holding tight. Oh no. Goodness me. Lucky, lucky wildebeest. You have another day to live.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
What makes andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve so special is our massive array of habitats. And with that comes, of course, a beautiful diversity of landscapes, but also an incredible biodiversity in terms of plants, bird life and animal life, as well as, of course, our conservation success stories with cheetah, with rhinos, now with pangolins too.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
So we're still here at the dam, but there's lots of butterfly activity on the edge. And the one in picture at the moment, to me, at this distance, looks like a common diadem. So when it turns sideways, it almost looks like an African monarch, but it actually mimics an African monarch. And then when you see when it opens its wings, it's black with big white dots. So that's a male common diadem. And the female, the male and the female have signs that they mimic an African monarch, because the African monarch is poisonous. The diadem may not be poisonous, but they've decided to take on the same coloration. So they are therefore by predators like birds and things to potentially be poisonous. There, maybe you got that in the, as it opened its wings. There you can see the big sort of white circles surrounded by black. Then the other, we can have a look and see if we can find some of those green ones, the greeny white ones. They're common vagrants. I'm still trying to have a look at these other ones. I think they're called blues. There's some kind of a blue, but I'm still trying to have a good look at them. But the white ones are common vagrants. Sometimes I think also an alternative name is an African migrant. And they specialize in laying their eggs on the senna plant, which they were in flower probably about a month and a half ago, all the senna flowers, and then since we've had the rains, all of these. Oh, that brown one with the white one with the brown on the left side of the screen there is brown veined white. It's these little brown ones in the front that have got beautiful markings on them, eyes and everything. I've seen them in the book, but off the top of my head, I can't tell you exactly what they are. They're common somethings. If they're not common browns, they're common blues or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. If any of the viewers do know exactly what they are, please don't hesitate to let us know in the comment section. They're pretty nonetheless. Yeah, when they open their wings, there is a bit of blue, so they just, they are getting the moisture out of the sand there, in between the sands. They'll just put their proboscis in there and get some moisture out the soil. We're going to send you across to Steve, who's got something on the dam cam.
Welcome back, everybody, to the dam cam, where the sun is definitely shining again outside, and we have a male Impala taking it really easy on the other side of the shore. They're just in a little window of vegetation. Other than him, there's not much else that I can see. There was a waterbuck a moment ago who graced us with a sideways pass. But the Impala, that is what we call the rumination position, everybody. Sitting down like that with legs tucked up, head elevated, chewing. So when we talk about a ruminant sitting down, that is what they do. Cows, sheep, goats, giraffe, kudu, Impala. A few more there as well. But during that position, they switch off completely. Their mind is one of absolute zen, apart from the odd ox picker that annoys him. It's very relaxed. The body is resting, and the mind is at peace. It's why ruminants don't need to actually physically sleep. They're essentially yogis. Yogi masters just doing present meditation all day long. I can tell you, as someone who meditates, one of the best things to test your equanimity is to have something on your face like a fly. If you can sit still in meditation while a fly crawls over your face, you're doing very well. Doing so with an ox pecker. Morgan, On this camera, no. I've only seen a buffalo or an elephant or lions. I've never seen two at the same time. And I've never in my life seen big five at the same time, even with my naked eye. It's just, apart from a photograph or a drawing or some marketing sort of put together propaganda. But they don't normally hang out together as a unit. The big five is generally a whole lot of animals that don't actually like each other, to be honest. They're all heavily competitive, and they all are they are potentially dangerous to each other, of course, with the leopard being the least able to inflict harm on all of the others. Very peaceful pan. Outside my window, the woodland kingfishers are going crazy. Okay, well, we're going to sit here and see what else we can find. In the meantime, send you over to Djuma out in the wilderness with Lauren.
Look what we found. It's a female tree agama clinging on to this jackalberry here. Now, I've been looking for the agamas for quite some time, and she's the first one that I've managed to find. How do I know it's a female? Well, the males are strikingly different in that they have a bright blue head, and it's a real sky blue. It's a really, really rich colour. You can't miss it. It's very vibrant. And when you look at her, she does have a sort of flash of blue, or maybe you could call it green, on her chin. But she's nowhere near as vibrant. She's nowhere near as, well, beautiful, I guess I could say. And that's how I know it's a female. Look how well she blends into this jackalberry. Is that not incredible? The male's probably there somewhere. I just can't see him. The males are very, very territorial. They're territorial over their own trees. So he could be anywhere in this huge jackalberry that looks over the Mulwati. Let's see if Davi can relocate her. Oh, there she is. Leanne, I mean, most trees look similar. So I think they would blend in with most tree types, to be honest. They don't change their colour, if that's what you're sort of asking for. They're actually very closely related to chameleons. That's their closest cousins, but they're not renowned for colour changing. They can sort of get lighter and darker, but they're not going to adapt to match the trees. But the females in particular, they will blend into most trees, I would say. Maybe not the Tamboiti because it's so dark, but they will always blend in. Their coloration is very mottled as well, and that will help them sort of break up their body outline even more. Has she disappeared, Davi? Let's just give it a second to see if she comes back again. Now, we left the den. I felt Tima was a little bit uncomfortable. I can't really explain it, and I felt she just needed to be with her little cub. So we did leave the den, but we can always go back a little bit later on, and it might be busier. Yes, I think the agama is gone, I'm afraid, so we shall continue to bumble. Now, I'm not actually sure where to go. There was talk of a leopard on Cheetah Cutline this morning, dogs on Simbambili, lions in Buffelshoek, and therefore I am not entirely sure where we're going to go. We've gone from having absolutely no choice and no traverse to too much traverse and too much choice. will just pull up here though to take a look at that weaver tree. That's not actually a species of tree, everyone. It's just a tree with a lot of weavers. I wonder if we're interrupting something there. Oh my goodness, we've got warthog running along the wall. Would you look at that? We can see you. Davi's a pied kingfisher. Just on the edge of the weaver tree. On the right hand side. Do you see it? Wow, this is our third pied kingfisher today. We had 2 this morning at Chitwa. That's very special. I think it's just taken a bath. Jackie, I wouldn't say so. It's not actually bent. If you look at the trunk, it's still going very much vertical. It's just, of course, the branches are going off to the side. So at the very, very tip of the longest branch on the right-hand side, yes, that's definitely hanging down because of all the activity. But I wouldn't say that the weaver's nest has bent this tree. And it's such an ideal spot for the nests. Above the water, which is perfect. The reason they do this, they're not water birds in any way, shape or form, but it prevents predators from coming. Maybe not aerial predators. I know that Tristan had a fantastic sighting with, I think it was a buzzard coming to destroy the nests, but terrestrial predators it will. It'll stop the hyenas coming. It will stop snakes, actually. Leopards, lions, anything that would maybe come along. Civets. And try and eat the eggs in the low-hanging nests. But I don't think that's the reason it's bent, Jackie. The nests are very, very lightweight. Ian, I've never seen any snakes by the nests. I've not seen many snakes out here. We do have them, but I've never seen any snakes near these nests. And the water would absolutely deter some snakes. Water this deep. The tree's right in the middle, almost like a little island. The deeper the water, the better for the weavers. It's just nice to take a moment to enjoy all the sounds. For me, this little water body is one of the most productive in terms of birding. I've seen a lot of unusual species in this tiny little waterhole. It's my favorite. It's my favorite for looking at birds. Lisa, you're 7 years old, and yes, I do think there absolutely will be eggs in some of these nests. It's a continuous cycle. The males will make the nests, a female will come along, she'll accept it. She'll think, yep, I like this nest, I'm very impressed. They will mate, and there absolutely will be some eggs in some of these nests. And sometimes the female doesn't like the nest and she's not impressed and she will not mate with the male. But most of the time, I think the females are impressed. And then once that male has made a nest and mated, he'll just continue to make another and another. And he keeps going the entire summer, the entire breeding season. And it's a very short incubation period. It's only between 12 to 14 days. So let's just say 2 weeks, and incubated by the female only. So the male doesn't have to worry about that. Once the female's incubating her eggs, the male can go off and mate with another female. So there absolutely will be some eggs. But of course we don't go close. We don't get off the car and check this tree. We can't. We'd end up knee deep in water, or at least I would. Linking, you're asking, are the weavers... Sorry, Gwen, one more. Brooding. Yeah, I'll just get Gwen. Are the weavers brooding? I'm not sure what that means. If you mean breeding, yes, they're absolutely breeding. Sorry, everyone. That is my game drive radio. But yes, they absolutely are breeding. It's breeding season. Hiding. Oh, my dear. I thought you said brooding. My bad. Forgive me. No, they're not. I don't think so. I can hear them. They're maybe just taking a little bit of a rest. They're very, very busy all day long. I did see one or two when we first arrived. But I don't think they're hiding. It's also very, very hot now. That sun has popped out. So possibly they're just seeking some shade. Sorry, someone's trying to communicate with me on the radio here. I may need to jump on. I'm live. I'll get back to you shortly. Okay, let's bumble on south to the southern boundary and see what we can see down there. Reversing with a rain roof on, it's never easy. Okay, I'm going to check the southern boundary, see what else we can see. But for now, we're going to send you back down to Deirdre.
So, welcome back to Tswalu. We're just driving in the dunes here. We're heading in a westerly direction at this stage. Seeing what we can find. We're scanning everywhere that's got shade because it is very hot out. So the clouds are off, but we're pretty sure. Oh, here's Sable. There we go. It's just as easy as that. He's lying right here. Oh no, wait. He's got very funny shaped horns. No, don't run away. Okay, he hasn't gone too far. So there we go. Beautiful sable bull. And he's got a bit of a kink in his horn. He's got quite a strange little... His left horn has a kink in it. So he should actually be quite recognisable over time. But that's a beautiful sable bull. he was lying there in the shade. As we just said, we were looking for the animals in the shade. Sable are quite strange. There's these massive camel thorn trees, and you'd think there's lots of shade under those, and they'll choose one little random bush and lie in the shade by that random bush. Let me go backwards, maybe we'll get another view of him. But one of the reasons that they don't lie under the camel thorn trees is because of tampans. It's like a type of a tick. And they are prolific underneath the camel thorns, so that's one of the reasons why they actually choose not to lie under the big areas of shade. I don't... Oh, there, I see his face, I see his ears. All I can see is one horn and one ear. There he is, have you got him there? He's currently struggling with flies and insects himself. Hence the reason why he keeps moving. They're obviously following him. Carla's asking the question, how can you tell when a sable is angry? Well, that's a good question. I can't say I've seen too many angry sable. I'm just going to try and change the angle here for Morgan. But sometimes an animal will show you the intent by snorting or maybe pawing the ground. I think we'll get a view from here. There we go. There we go. We'll get a nice view from there. So by sort of snorting or pawing the ground, their focus would be fixed on you. I don't know. He's clearly not a movie star, that one. He's had no practice at framing up in a shot. He was perfect in the nice light, facing side on, and then he just went and exit stage left. So he's gone. But we can carry on and see what else we can find. But yeah, Sable... animals that tell you that they're unhappy with you sometimes give you some kind of a warning first. So either a snort or sort of a nod with a head or something like that, but they would stare fixedly at you if they were irritated by you, and then sometimes even sort of raising up that head and their shoulders, making themselves appear larger, almost as if it's a challenge. You could have that with some animals, certainly with elephants, and that they'll do that. But yeah, I haven't personally experienced it with Sable. I'd rather stay on his good side. So let's carry on rolling through the dunes and see if we get another surprise. So in the dune areas here, we're looking for eland, we're looking for kudu, we're looking for springbuck, we're looking for roan, gemsbok. So we'll see what else. Fortunately, we've also got quite good visibility. Some of the areas have got quite a lot of grass cover. Vanessa's asking the question, when last have we spotted the chameleons in Tswalu? For me, probably about a week ago, I saw one crossing the road. But they're not commonly seen here. It's the flat-neck chameleon, but it's not common for us to see them. Hold on. I think I saw something, but it might well be the typical stick that looks like an animal, because we've just seen the sable, but let me rather just check. Yes, it is. It's one of those sticks that look like an animal. Yeah, the chameleons also would have gone through a period where they go... they sort of almost hibernate over winter. They disappear over winter and then only come out in the summer season when there's been rains and there's insect availability. But another Another reptile that we have been seeing a lot of is very similar. I heard Lauren was showing you a female agama. We've been seeing the ground agama, quite a lot of those, both male and female, because it seems like after the rain, all of them are looking to try and lay eggs in the soil. So we have been seeing quite a lot of the females have actually dug a little hole in the soil, and you just see little heads sticking out the hole in the road, and then they scuttle out and move on just before you get there. So we have been seeing a lot of those. Other reptiles that we do see quite regularly at Tswalu would be a leopard tortoise. Be quite lucky to see a Kalahari tent tortoise. They're quite special. And then, of course, the Cape Cobra, puff adder, python, and yeah, I'm just trying to think of what else. Lots of lizards. There's always lizards, even monitor lizards. There's a lying down giraffe. Thanks. Morgan spotted that one. Oh no, he's no longer lying down. Sorry. So when we said we were looking for animals in the heat, that's exactly with the giraffe here. You can see he's almost as tall as the tree that he's standing next to. So they do lie down very often here in the heat of the day, and he was unfortunately lying down. We have disturbed his slumber, but that is not an uncommon thing for us to see at Tswalu, is that the giraffe lie down in the shade during the day. They still have very good visibility for predators, but if they had to stand, half of them would be in the hot, intense heat. So he was in that nice shady patch of the camel thorn. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb him. Justine is asking, how can I tell that this is a male? Fortunately, there's quite a number of ways to tell, but you do look at the ossicones, so those long protrusions on top of the head. If they are generally quite wide, far apart, and then bald on top, that tends towards being a male. Well, it is a male. And then the female, those horns or ossicones, everyone calls them horns, but they're actually ossicones. The ossicones are much thinner, with hair tufted on the top. Look at that flexibility. That was pretty impressive. I mean, you try lick your armpit, as funny as that sounds, but he just did it. No problem at all. And also you can see almost there's what they call pseudo horns, but they would be pseudo ossicones, just directly behind the front two. Those are additional sort of calcium deposits as well. Not so common in the females, but more in the males. And then that sort of that bump on the front of the face, just above the eyes, that's also more prominent in a male. Ever so regal. And so we're going to carry on. We'll leave him in his shady slumber.
How insane is that animal?
This is out of this world. Fantastic. Good, Mama.
Wow, what a way to start off.
Just such an incredible privilege to be out here. It just keeps on delivering.
There you go, there you go. Heart is pumping right now.
3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Look at this, everybody. We've got a live kill.
The croc's holding the tail, it's holding tight. Lucky wildebeest.
There's nowhere to go. This is a disaster in the making.
This is the first leucistic zebra I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, here comes a lion. Run, little guy. Go on.
Something that I have never seen before in my entire life that you are now watching live.
My heart is in my mouth, everybody.
Look at this. It's gonna make it. It's going, it's going.
This is just too magical. Hi, little guys. That's great, isn't it?
Has it just pretended to be dead? That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Look at that. Scuba Steve has got a friend.
You've got a friend in me.
It couldn't be a better morning. This is just too special.
Oh my goodness, we've got a turtle.
How epic is the fact that we're coming to you live from the Chobe River?
It's the most incredible feeling to be here. This is live and we're in Rwanda. This is a very, very different adventure, charged with emotion.
Look at that little zebra about to be born. There's the head. Oh, you clever mare. Well done.
I did not think I would ever face my fears like this. Well, today has been a lucky day after all, everyone. Our babies got named. And, wow, we have 2 leopards, not 1, but 2 up a tree. I think this is a leopard. I haven't seen a leopard in so long. Is it definitely a leopard, Davy?
I think so. I can't see the second one right now. I don't see the second one.
No, Tandy's gone up. But this is Tandy and her baba, Maribs, who's also recently been named. Finally, all our little ones are getting named. Now, would you like me to move around a little bit, Davy, since the other vehicles moved? Or are you quite happy?
Yeah, we can.
That was a long decision process there. This is my first leopard since coming back from the stint, everyone. So I am overjoyed. Oh.
Just a little bit of left hand.
A little bit left hand. Okay.
Yeah.
How is this?
Very good.
Very good. I'm going to compliment you. We've got some elephants in the background as well, so Chitwa is very, very busy. I know many of you like to know where we find the leopards. This is Chitwa. This is old Tandy Cat, having a snooze, not the sun. It's Maribs has disappeared somewhere. He's definitely up there. Jane, you're saying well done. Good to see Tandy. I know. I've missed him all so dearly, and we get the updates, but of course we've had such limited traverse, and a big huge thanks to our incredible tech team, because really the lightning storm did a lot of damage, and the tech team have managed to put it all back together somehow. I don't quite know how. I don't understand the first thing about tech, but they did. Now that's the kill, that's the Bamba. It's an Impala, I believe, or it was an Impala, sorry. And Maribs, where have you disappeared to? Now that the trees are so thick, their foliage is so dense, it's actually quite difficult. We had Shadulu and Kara up a tree not so long ago, and it was almost impossible to actually find Shadulu. And there's some elephants in the background, most likely going to Chitwa watering hole for some water at some point. I'm over the moon. Tandy and Son are spending a lot of time on Chitwa now. And it's just really fascinating to me because it's a very small property that now sort of 3 very dominant female leopards are utilising, all in very close proximity to one another. It was New Year's Day that Davy and I had Tandy and Maribs, and Sabi really not far away, and I think the same happened to Tristan not so long ago. So they're all really sort of pushing against each other. It's almost as if Chitwa is the clash of lots of different territorial borders. That just looks really comfy, actually, doesn't it? Tandy can make anything look comfy. And James Richard, you sent me a video, thank you so much, of Tandy protecting Maribs against a hyena. I believe the hyena was Corky. I don't know who the video belonged to. and she jumps on the hyena. Tandy is fierce. They'll sometimes run from hyenas, but when it comes to it, she tried to protect him. Javu's not the only big cat that can climb trees. Lions can climb trees. They're definitely not as graceful or as light on their feet, but they can climb trees. Cheetahs, I guess, are not big cat. They're not in the Panthera genus. They're all sometimes known as the lesser cats, which is such a rubbish term, actually. But they can also climb up trees. And it's, when you think of all the predators, let's just go for leopard, lion, hyena, and wild dog and cheetah. Okay, that's the predators that we get here. If they were all exactly the same, if they all had the exact same power, the exact same speed, the exact same body weight, the exact same skills, there is no way that every single species could survive and thrive and cohabit the same ecosystem, the same space. That wouldn't be possible. So I like to think of it as a big pizza, a big yummy pizza with lots of avocado, where they all fit into one another. So they are occupying the same space, they are cohabiting, they're living sympatrically, but they've all got unique specializations that help them survive out here. So for example, cheetahs is speed. They don't have body weight, they really could not protect themselves against lions, they don't have muscles, they're specially adapted for speed. So if any threat approaches, they will just run. That's their unique superpower. Leopard's superpower is they can climb trees, and they can do it so elegantly and gracefully and quick. They're arboreal. They live a lot of their life in the trees. Then you have lions. Their superpower is their pride, their cooperative nature, and their body mass. Lions are huge, especially when you see a lion and a leopard next to one another. Wild dog, their speciality is the pack. Everything about a wild dog is about the pack. Pack is life. And then it comes to hyena, and their speciality is, well, they can scavenge. Yes, that's a speciality. They can hunt, but they can also scavenge, and they're good at it. They keep themselves fed all year round, be it summer, be it winter, be it drought, be it flood. The hyenas can keep themselves fed because they're able to eat anything. They've got remarkable jaws, crunch through bones, and they can steal, but they can also hunt. What do you feel like doing today? Let's hunt today. Okay. So every predator has their unique specialization, and that's the reason that they can all survive out here. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible. I hope that made sense. If you've ever played Trivial Pursuit, I used to love that game, and you get the little pieces in different colors, the little pieces of cheese. Pink, yellow, blue, purple. Oh, you got the cup. Here he comes. Hello, my Reeves. This is the first time I've seen you since you've got a name. The name from Aubrey, which means of the rock, not on the rock, of the rock. It means he's the offspring of the rock, because he spent most of his upbringing on First Rock. So yes, just think of that Trivial Pursuit piece whenever you're thinking about predators. Very, very fast. I mean, I don't think there's a number or a figure out there. Extremely fast. Because it's their superpower. They've got those protractable claws. They're actually a lot lighter than the likes of a lion. Their scapula, their shoulder blades are specially adapted. They're much larger than the likes of ours. And this is to host lots of different sites for muscles. So they've got extra muscles that they can use to pull them up, so they can jump up at lightning speed. Oh, this is so nice to have Tandy and Cub on one tree. And we saw in Tima and Cub, it's been a day for mother and offspring today. Nikova, you're 4 years old. Wow. Matilda. Sorry, I don't know why I just changed your name. Matilda's much better. Have you ever seen the movie Matilda or read the book Matilda by Roald Dahl? It is the best. Anyway, you're 4 years old and you're asking, are they born with spots? Yes, they are. But when you see a leopard cub, as a very, very small cub, a newborn or a few weeks old, they look very fuzzy. Davi always says that they're very difficult to film because you always feel like they're not in focus because they just look fuzzy. Their spots or their rosettes, Matilda, are not clearly defined. They grow into their definition, but yes, they've got spots and they're the same colour when they're born. It's so nice to see them spending so much time together. I remember when Tandy first had Mareebs, and she really, really kept him well hidden for a very long time. Tandy knows the bigger the cub is, the stronger the cub is, the more likely his chance of survival. Tandy hugging this piece of tree is really entertaining. I don't know why. I don't know why that's entertaining. Hello, Tandy girl. JP, I believe a cheetah's tail is actually longer, I think. I'm actually not sure. Leopards and cheetahs definitely have the longest out of all the cats we get here. But they're slightly different. The way that a cheetah's tail has evolved. It's very bulbous at the end and it's to act like a rudder when they're running at very, very high speed. But I do think a cheetah's is longer. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. He's coming down. Where you going, boy? You're getting so big. Now, I see some people say he looks like Tingana, and of course, we don't know. We don't have the evidence, the DNA analysis. We don't know who his father is. If he does do the toilet, Davi, you will be collecting it.
I'm on it.
But we will collect it. We don't have the vials, but we'll make do and we'll send it off to Panthera. But I do not see Tingana. I really, really don't. I see Mulwati, but of course everyone is different. I think all of Tingana's offspring, in my opinion, you can really see the Duke. But with Mareebs, he's a different looking little boy. And I think it's because he's Mulwati's. The elephant's about to cross in the background. There we go, a two-shot, look at that. Mareebs looking up at Mommy, and an elephant walking in the background. Bianca, tail does assist with balance, absolutely. But I think when it comes to leopards, depending on... Oh, look at that fierce stare. Depending on how much of their tail they were to lose, I think they would still have good balance. But tails absolutely do assist with their balance. And it's funny, there's a great article online about tails, and it's a funny quote. Tails are like opinions. Basically, everybody has them when referring to the animal kingdom. And as you sort of get closer to humans in that evolutionary tree, tails do disappear naturally. Gorillas don't have them, and neither do chimps or any other ape. But monkeys do, of course, and they're prehensile tails, so they can grasp. And of course, their cats are well known for their tails, dogs, even your antelopes. And along the lines of evolution, tails have sort of adapted for different functions. So I mentioned the cheetah has it as a rudder, and if you think of the rattlesnake, they're so highly specialized that there's a special organ at the end of their tail that rattles and enables them to warn intruders to keep at bay, don't come any closer. A rattle's just made from keratin, the same material in our hair, our fingernails and our hair. And that's how well that tail has specialized. Alligators, they use their tails to store fat. Why not? Why not have your own fat storage at the end of the day? And humans don't have tails, or we shouldn't have tails, but we do, of course, have that little bit bone at the end of our spine, known as the coccyx. And that helps support our body, especially when we're sitting. But basically, tails do assist with balance for a lot of organisms, and the leopards will also use them for that function. But I think if their tail was chopped in half, for some reason, they would still be absolutely able to manage life in the trees. Carl, you're saying you love this boy. Yes, I know. How could you not? It wasn't our plan today to find these leopards. We've just indeed very, very lucky. Look at Tandy now. Tandy is loving this branch that's broken. Look at her just snoozing off there, nodding off. Oh, I know the feels. I hate that feeling when your eyes are so drowsy and your head drops, especially when you're on public transport. Okay, of course, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit here and thoroughly enjoy this sighting, and we're going to send you across to Steve.
We also have a leopard, but it's a tortoise. Leopard tortoise. So we were just talking about them. This was a nice medium-sized one. How would you... Probably about 30 centimeters across and about 20 centimeters high. So it hasn't moved since we've been here, but I'd hate to tell him, but his camouflage is not working so well for him when he's lying out in the open there. He's been... feeding. There's a wild cucumber just behind him, and he's probably eating the leaves of the wild cucumber that's just in front of him. Maybe he's busy chewing at the moment, but he hasn't moved since we stopped here. So the leopard tortoises here can get quite big, not as big as other areas of South Africa. They're the largest tortoise in Southern Africa, getting to well over 20 kilograms, which is quite big for a tortoise. And they're also, this particular species is also the only one that's capable of swimming. So while we've been having floods and things, they are capable of swimming. Other than terrapins, of course, but that's a different group. Those are adapted for life in the water. But tortoises will go into water to cool down. Lerato is asking the question, why is it called the leopard tortoise? Well, I heard you were discussing spots on a leopard earlier, and if you look at the carapace or the shell, you can actually see the mottled yellow and black across the shell, which gives it a spotty appearance, hence the name a leopard tortoise. And each one of those, as Morgan zooms in, you can actually see the fine lines on that. Each one of those looks like a roof tile, and each individual roof tile is known as a scoot. And each one of those valleys and mountains, or the ridges and the lines that you can see on that scoot, will give you a rough estimate of the age. You can go sort of a mountain and a valley is almost like a season, so how well they grew in that season. So this is a relatively old tortoise, but they can live to well over 100 years. So, yeah, he's probably halfway there. Oh, I saw him wink. He did move. I say he, but I don't actually know. I haven't seen the back of it. Ndabo is asking how long can they last without drinking water. They get a lot of moisture from their food, so tortoises don't have to drink water regularly at all. If they do come across a puddle or an area of rain, they will take that opportunity, but they don't have to drink daily. They get a lot of moisture from their food source. And directly behind him, there's actually a wild cucumber, and they can even get moisture from some of the plants here, even tama melons, some of the others they can get their moisture. So for tortoises, all tortoise species in general don't require water every day. And they also say with tortoises, you shouldn't pick up a tortoise in the dry season at all, because they actually store water in a sack close, it's called a bursa, or an anal sack. And they'll store water there if they need to. The females will use that water to dampen the soil to help her dig so that she can lay the eggs. But both male and female, if they're picked up by a predator, they'll exude that. And generally it's sort of a foul-tasting liquid. And that generally makes the predator drop them or let them go, in that they don't want to eat them. But what happens is that's their reserve moisture supply or water supply. And if you pick them up in winter and they do that to you, you actually potentially hindering it if it can't get to water to have a refill. So we're going to carry on heading slowly, faster than the tortoise. We're going to send you across to Steve that's got something to show you.
Thanks, Dee. Well, we have found some cousins of ours on the dam wall. Your family of Chakma baboons, you can see on the right bottom corner. There's one that's busy stripping the leaves and the inflorescence of the grass and eating the seeds. Here comes a fellow. So funny watching baboons. Oh, I love watching baboons. They're always so busy. They're always doing something. So many sort of human traits we can take from them when we see them. And the dam cam, they don't really know that we're watching. It's just like CCTV. So many little things happen to these fellows out there. So many little sort of nuances. They're crossing the dam wall itself. And don't know what their plan is, but they've probably also been a little bit wet, quite excited to be out of the rain. Oh, there's a big fellow. Claire, yes, they can swim. They can indeed swim. It looks quite funny when they swim. You don't see them deliberately trying to swim, but sometimes they cross water holes or or sort of low-lying water areas, and they sort of go on their back legs and jump. Oh, here comes one. Look at the size difference. But they can swim like a human doggy paddle. Can you see the sort of deference he's given there? All those other baboons know he's big, he is the stronger, and definitely step out of his way. Give him what he needs. Where's he going? Right behind the bush. See how he runs, okay? Yes, sir. This way. This way. The oligarchy system of the baboons is very important. Well, there's definitely some interest. We might see some live mating, everybody. Female. Obviously, like our leopards the other day, it will happen behind the bush. One of those females was, her rear end was quite inflamed and very, very red. There's a clear indication that she's good for mating. Darcy, and they do come into camp like the vervets. They're a little bit more sort of careful because they're much bigger. They come in when no one is around. They're very clever in that regard, and they're very strong. So, see, that female there is just ducking behind the vegetation. It's got a very swollen and red bottom area. It's highlighting her sort of reproductive status. So, unfortunately, baboons on the African continent conflict with people because obviously they're very, very clever. They're able to figure things out, and they feed on a very similar food source that we have. And so there's huge human and baboon wildlife conflict in the world, in South Africa. It's unfortunate, but it is real. And once the baboons have figured out how to get into your camp, they will do so again. They'll do so again. But for the most part, this time of year, because there's an abundance of food, you don't expect to see them coming into camps because there's so much food around. And this fellow here will actually walk around and steal food from individuals that have maybe found a good feeding source. But this time of year, there's plenty of food in the form of grass, seeds, and fruit. I actually did a walk 2 years ago or so, a baboon walk focused on just on how the baboons survived out and about, what they fed upon. It was quite interesting to see, the fruits and the food that we as humans are able to store and hold in places. If you're a baboon who has to live off of the land when vegetation and when food sources become a little bit scarce, then suddenly somebody shows you a bag of bananas. I mean, life suddenly becomes very easy, doesn't it, when you can get that sort of food, and if you can figure out how to get it, even more so. There's nothing wrong with them doing that. That's how they've evolved as a species, to be able to access new sources of food. Farage, yes, they do. When they cross water, they normally walk on their back legs, or when they're being chased by, or when they see a predator, they might actually, there's a bit of a crossover there. When they see a predator, they might actually stand on their back legs and shout at him. When my first day back, one of the big male baboons actually came running down to this dam because there was a male leopard, a young male leopard on the wall somewhere over here, and he came running down. But because the grass is quite long, he would go onto his back legs from time to time so that he could still see above sort of the vegetation line. So yes, they can on the back legs. It doesn't look very doesn't look very comfortable, but they definitely can go on two legs. They're not as mobile as they are on four. On four, they're very quick. There's a bit of grooming happening here in the sun. Some very important social dynamics happening with our baboon troop. While we send you back over to Lauren and her cats.
we're still sitting here. Watching little Mareebs. He's always got what looks like a dirty nose. And I think he does enjoy buffalo dung quite a fair bit. But he also has a very, very dark nose. Sometimes when leopards are slightly younger, they can have pink noses. Hosanna had a very pink nose for a while. But he does also like to put his nose in buffalo dung. Can you just move your head a little bit, please, Mareebs? There's a stick in your face. Now, before I forget, we do have Bless on camera with us today. So now, from now on, the amazing camera work will be done by Bless, and we can't really get rid of Davy now, so unfortunately he's stuck on the back with us as well. But you know, the three of us are here on the vehicle. Now, I've completely lost sight of Tandy. I think she's gone very high up in this tree. Now, this is a fig tree, everyone, believe it or not. I actually forgot to mention this, sorry. It's not your usual marula. If you just want to take a look at that sort of fluty trunk there, it's a fig tree, the fig tree that is on the open, Chitwa, sycamore fig. It actually looks quite strange. I was just talking to Steve about it. It looks like it could be two trees. The one at the front is definitely the fig. But we were just discussing whether it could be another one behind. So it could be a strangler. But yes, this is a sycamore fig tree, everyone, and Tandy and Cub have truly made use of it here. And what's funny, Davy and I were here this morning, and I don't know when they made this kill, but instead of driving this road, we took another road to follow Swazi. And I wonder if they were here this... Oh, there's a kingfisher just on the right-hand side of the tree there. Oh, it's flown away again. Sorry, I forgot which way was right and which way was left there. My apologies. I have missed my spots so dearly. I'm overjoyed to see leopards again. And of course, Steve got very lucky yesterday with Nsele and Klangula mating, which will be ongoing, I'm sure, but it was very, very close to the Mangaleti boundary, so they possibly could have crossed north by now. Okay, we're going to sit here, and hopefully Miss Tandy's going to come back down so we can get a view of her.
It is fantastic seeing you all again. Those who haven't met me, my name is Dylan, in what is undoubtedly a very, very, very green Kalahari from what we were looking at a couple of months ago. We will be doing our very first fireside chat for WildEarth. So if you can join us on the 13th at about 7:30 after game drive, it would be an absolute pleasure. We'll see you there.
Sign up to become an explorer and join them by the fire straight after the sunset safari.
Riverbeds are a great way to find water and look for places where elephant have excavated hollows. You can then dig into the sand, and after a couple of feet you should find damp sand, which then can be squeezed out or siphoned off for water. And with water being one of our scarcest resources, it is a good idea to conserve water where and how you can.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on WildEarth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I come to you live every day here from Tswalu Kalahari in South Africa. My favorite bird has to be the social weaver. The enormous nest that they create, their survival tactics to inhabit these harsh and unforgiving environments, and as well as their complex social arrangements, is truly remarkable. And the interconnectedness with the ecosystem shows us that we are too.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
So most people, when they see that, they go, ew. I feel the same. And there's many a staff at Tswalu that really, really don't enjoy these armoured ground crickets. They literally just get everywhere. You can leave your door open and you'll find one on your bed or on your curtain, on your couch. They just go anywhere. But this is their natural place, where we are seeing it now. But this particular bush, we had to stop here because it's like a Christmas tree. You can actually just see them. There are multiple on this one bush, and they're all just still unless something disturbs them. If I walked over there now, we'd disturb them. They'd all try and sort of get out of that tree. Yeah, they're all just stationary. Maybe they've had their meal for the day and now they're just hanging out. There is maybe some inclement weather coming in, so maybe they know get to higher ground just in case it rains. That's a possibility. But we have seen them do this typically late afternoon, come up into the trees where it's probably slightly warmer temperatures, a little bit off the ground, than being directly on the ground. And yeah, they are quite strange. They are omnivorous and also cannibalistic. If they found any one of their companions that have died, or unfortunately there's often lots of roadkill with them, they'll actually take the opportunity to consume the other individual that has died. And it shows that they're lacking in salt and protein when they're happy to consume species of their own. And they've got a defensive mechanism. Strangely enough, we see the meerkats definitely like to eat them, but not all of the meerkats. Some of them leave them alone. But if they are approached side on, then they secrete, it's known as auto-hemorrhaging. They'll actually secrete their hemolymph, which is effectively insect blood. And it carries, believed to carry some form of toxin, which would be like a repellent, so that they'd get left alone. And then the insects, pretty much straight after they've secreted that repellent and hopefully repelled the predator, they themselves clean themselves. They go through like a grooming to get that liquid off them so that they don't get attacked by any one of the others in the group or in surrounds. Marjol is asking the question while they're propagating there. I'm not too sure. We've seen them do this when it's going to be a colder morning. We see them do it in the late afternoon. They go up into the trees, up into the tops of the bushes. So I'm not too sure if it's a temperature thing. So overnight the temperature drops to quite cold and they're a little bit warmer if they're higher up. I'm not too sure if it's to make themselves a display, so attract, the females can find them, can see them, can come to them, or vice versa. The females can display themselves to males. That's a possibility. And the other is the fact that at the moment there looks like there is a serious thunderstorm coming in from the south. We can hear the thunder and we haven't seen any lightning, but we can hear the thunder, and it might be as a result of the possibility that it's going to rain, and then they're just above where there could be an area that becomes inundated with water. So they are sort of calling them. There we go. Thanks, Morgan. Morgan's showing you what we're talking about with what's on its way. They're looking pretty ominous, We think we'll make the rest of safari, though. We don't think it's going to go... We're going to go north, where there's blue clouds. The other day we made the mistake of going in the wrong direction, and we got very wet. So the weather changes very, very quickly here. When we first started afternoon safari, there were just a couple of cumulus clouds in the sky, not as big as the cauliflower shapes that they are now. And literally in the last 2.5 hours, just because of this intense heat, there's a slight breeze blowing, but these clouds have been growing in the last 2 hours. We're going to send you back to Lauren, who's relaxing with her relaxed leopards.
I am indeed relaxing with very relaxed leopards. I have to say, whenever I've had Reeves on his own, he's not as relaxed. I'm not saying he's skittish. He's not as relaxed as when he is with Tandy. Now, the Impalas are definitely relaxed. I'm afraid they've really stashed that in this tree here, haven't they? Reeves has had a chuckle at my swollen face. It's very entertaining for everyone that sees me. Hopefully tomorrow I will not be so swollen, and I can hide behind the dam cam. But in all seriousness, Reeves, and I'll always remember this, he's a year next month. Can you believe that? This past year has been a bit of a wipeout for everyone, and he's already a year. He was also March 2020, the same as Ribbons Boys. That's how I remember it. So he's coming up for a year. But male cubs will stay with their mothers till around about 2. So Tandy will have to put up with their son for another while yet. Although he's grown, he's really grown actually. He's still very small, he's still petite. He's still got to sort of hone in on his hunting skills.
Joined Lauren and Lachlan.
I'm sorry about that. So yes, for up to another year, age 2. He'll stay with Tandy. They'll spend longer and longer sort of bouts apart, but they'll still very much spend time together. And it may be slightly over 2 that he will get ready to disperse. Male leopards do disperse, as sad as it is. It was heartbreaking when Hosanna decided to disperse, but they have to. Get away from their natal grounds. They're not philopatric. Go and find their own grounds, set up their own territory. It may be easy. They maybe find a vacuum that they can fit into, or it may require challenging other male leopards. And once they've established their territory, it'll most likely be very small to start with. They'll start displaying extremely territorial behaviour. And that behaviour will then bring on a sort of change in biological behaviour. And the dewlap will develop, their testosterone will increase. They're getting ready to mate. They're getting ready to sort of be the reproductive male that they will become. And so it's a process. And then, of course, you'll have the opportunity to mate with different females that will not be in any way related, or shouldn't be, should I say. Don't want to mate with relatives. Yes, it happens. Inbreeding does happen in the cats, but it's not ideal. It can happen for up to about 3 generations, give or take. But inbreeding's not what you want for a species. We want to swap genetic material with an individual that's not related to you in any way, shape, or form. Sorry, Gwen, you'll have to repeat that. I didn't catch that name, but you're asking, does Tandy eat before the cub? Oh, that's a tricky one. Yes, if she makes the kill, she most likely will start eating, and he will just come bounding along. Depends on the kill, depends on the scenario. But yes, Tandy will make the kill, and she'll try to make the kill big enough for the 2 of them, i.e. not a scrub here. This is obviously a large Impala. And yes, she will start eating. But I remember I had the most wonderful sighting of the two of them when Mareebs was a lot smaller, and Tandy held the carcass for him because it was balanced very precariously on a tree, and he wasn't handling it very well, and it was going to fall. And of course, the hyenas were lying in wait, and she just held the carcass in place for him. Didn't feed, didn't take anything, just held it. I'm sure some of you will remember it. It was very sweet. So she won't be too aggressive with him at this stage. So it really depends. But if she's hungry, then she'll absolutely start eating. And of course, they eat the organs first. Not only is it the organs are soft, they contain the most nutrition. The liver, the kidneys, all those sort of internal parts of the prey they eat first, and that's where they really get all their vitamins and minerals. The muscles, that's mainly protein, and that's not substantial enough or varied enough for the leopards to survive. So they actually get all the nutrients, all wild felines do, from the organs. And of course, they're hyper carnivores. They don't need to eat nuts or fruit or anything like that. They don't need to supplement. They've got everything they have from the prey that they eat. So of course, I'm going to sit with my spots, but we are going to send you across to Dan with his lions.
Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, the sun is out once more, and it seems like the rain is gone for now. And these lions are still, we've come back to exactly where we left them, and they've moved out into the open. The two little cubs have actually come to join everybody else over here. Big Ross male right in the middle, everyone kind of positioned around him. And the sun is shining. It's as if nothing has happened, but I tell you, those little cloud bursts were out of the blue, and were quite heavy. The grass is wet. We got absolutely soaked. Odie did an incredibly good job at keeping the equipment dry, so we're back out again. The lighting is actually beautiful. Look at the grass in the background kind of glowing. Tails flicking. There's also a whole lot of flies. Oof, the male's now rolling over. Big stretch. Showing us what he has to offer there. Rolling over on his back. Very proud. Looks very comfortable, in fact. I'm sure you'd like that belly to be a little bit fuller. So that might be a good sign for this evening. The lionesses are looking like they've eaten something, maybe not today, but in the past couple of days. But that male's certainly going to be looking for something to eat this evening. It'll be super interesting. I mean, we said we haven't seen him on the property for an incredibly long time, weeks in fact. He might have been around, just with all the rain. It's been quite tricky to find these lions, and the Birmingham Pride has been scattered all over the place. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this evening, if he might advertise and call and roar, maybe try and find the other Ross male. Who knows where he is. It'll be awesome to see if he does roar and call and see if he gets a response back. You know, after the rain it is quite clear and still, and you'll see he'll wait till that sun's going down a little bit more and the wind dies down. I mean, it's not like the wind's blowing much at all, but as the sun's setting, it's one of the stillest parts in the afternoon and the evening, and that'll be the time when his roar will travel the furthest. He'll try and take advantage of that. I mean, even to the human ear, a roar of a male lion can go up to about 5 or 6 kilometers. So maybe he's getting some well-earned rest before he needs to really advertise his presence. Nola, would a white lion also get a dark mane as they age? And you'll see as they do age, that mane will be quite light in color, but the edges and the tips might go like a darker brown. I don't know, I mean, I wish it was here so I could show you, but if you do recall watching it, if you look at the back of its tail and behind its ears, it hasn't got the characteristic black like the rest of the lion's hair. Like you see on the male there, you can see he's even flicking his ear and flicking his tail. The tail has got that very dark color, and the ears have got the very dark color that match the top of his mane, in fact. So the white lion will get quite a light mane, and the tips of them will go like a similar color to the back of his tail. And that'll be almost like a dark maroon brown kind of color, not a dark black mane like this. I mean, even if you follow quite closely, the other Ross male, so this is the darker maned one, has got a much lighter mane than this. It has a lot to do with genetics. As to the darker mane, it also has a lot to do with those nomadic years in terms of how much excess energy and how much food they can eat. So they use a lot of their excess energy in those years to develop these big, strong manes. And the bigger the mane can get, often the darker it will be as well. Look at this lioness almost lying right on top of her cub. You can see the spots on that little one as well, still very visible. And I mean, we have spoken about how the new 3 additions to the Birmingham Pride have kind of stolen the spotlight. But these two are still incredibly young, and this mother as well, for her first litter, has done an incredible job at getting them to this age. They're all looking very flat, very, very sleepy lions. A couple of insects irritating a few of them. They're also buzzing around my head. Adrian, will inbreeding in cats cause deformities? It can, if it carries on for too long, but you'll see nature's got an incredible way of trying to avoid inbreeding. I mean, these males won't hang around with the pride for too long. Maybe the Birmingham Pride is not the best example with that young male almost reaching 5 years old now, but you'll see as soon as the males get to a certain age, at around 3.5, 4 years old, they will actually leave the pride and they'll go on their way to hopefully, and they can travel many kilometers, even up to hundreds of kilometers sometimes, in search of their own pride or their own territory. And that'll be a way that they kind of avoid inbreeding. If animals do inbreed too much, there will be deformities within it. But as I said, I mean, nature's quite amazing, particularly in these huge open systems like the Kruger National Park. These animals have got more than enough space to kind of disperse and find new territories and find new prides to kind of mix the genes. I mean, the Ross males, one of those males here, has actually come from, if I were to guess, in the Timbavati, probably around 35 kilometers as the crow flies. And to get here, he's gone through several lion territories, and I'm sure it took him a few years to come down here and find this almost vacancy or the weakness in the males that were in charge at the time. I actually remember when these Ross males did come in for the first time. It was just over 3 years ago or so, or around 3 years ago. They came in, and it was, I mean, the Birmingham Pride is incredibly well known for having white lions, and these females have very clearly got the recessive gene for this white lion, and they actually photographed a white lion that was born. It was only a few days to weeks old. It was quite a big scene, and then these Ross males came in and killed it as part of the process in taking over a pride so that they can sire and father their own cubs. So it was a bit devastating for the Timbavati, who hadn't had a white lion around for a while, and luckily enough, I mean, the Timbavati is well known for having these white lion genes, but these Ross males are very clearly also carrying the gene. I guess that also goes back to a form of inbreeding, but it hasn't been so far causing any deformities that we were talking about. It's clearly not inbreeding. I mean, the Ross males have obviously come from another genetic line which is carrying that gene, but not inbreeding to an extent that's caused deformities. It's actually seeming to warm up quite a lot now after this rain, which cooled down quite quickly, and getting quite humid. I mean, there's quite a lot of moisture and water around, and with it getting hot, the humidity is increasing. It'll be super interesting. I mean, that lioness in the back as well, we're just looking at her now. I haven't seen her in a long time, probably close to 2.5 months, and she's looking pregnant, in fact, and looking quite close to actually giving birth, if you ask me. Maybe she has eaten something recently as well, but you can see her teats as well are starting to show. She's looking quite big as well. I wonder how long or how far down the line she is. As I said, I haven't seen her for a long time. Last time I saw her, I didn't even have a clue as to she might even be pregnant. I don't even remember her mating with these Ross males, in fact. So yeah, it's going to be super interesting. I mean, maybe some more new additions to be added to the Birmingham Pride. Yeah, so I'm going to stick around here for a little bit longer. I'm really hoping that with this Ross male being on the property, he might advertise a little bit later and these females might get up. In the meantime, I'm going to send you over to Phinda and Kim for her introduction now that the rain is gone.
Welcome finally to andBeyond Phinda. Sorry it's taken us so long to get to you guys. We had quite a lot of rain, but it has turned into the most awesome evening. As you can see behind our giraffe, there's still a bit of cloud build-up, but it is simply beautiful. Those clouds with the setting sun, it's making for a really, really beautiful backdrop before that female giraffe. It looks like we've got a group here of males and females in this kind of what will be a combretum thicket one day, or woodland. There's all the bright bushes, the bright green bushes that giraffe is standing in. You can also hear a Jacobin cuckoo shouting at us from the one side. A really, really pretty scene that the rain is finally set for us. I'm Kim, and behind camera we've got Simon. So yeah, welcome. Finally, we set out and got completely drenched within minutes. And yeah, I'm quite surprised at what this afternoon has turned into. All the giraffe are moving quite beautifully into the open for us. Oh, don't stop ever, as I've said that. I'm actually feeding off of that combretum. It's quite interesting because giraffe are one of the few animals that feed on this tree. It's apparently not very tasty. I can't say from experience. I haven't tasted it before. You see that one is feeding. I think it might actually just be behind a bush for the camera. And my binoculars all fogged up from the rain, which is great. So I can't really see either what it's eating. I'll just clean them quickly. Yeah, it is indeed eating the combretum. Matthew, I won't be able to answer that question accurately just because I didn't measure that giraffe, so I have no idea how tall it was. But and also it's just quite difficult to... Oh, some white-faced whistling ducks flying over. It's quite tough to tell which one would have been the tallest one, because when you're looking at them from a distance like this, I mean, you know that they're big, but they seem, you know, like a little bit smaller than what they actually are. It's only when you drive right up to them, if one's quite relaxed and allows you to get very, very up, like near to it, and you sitting underneath it looking up at it, that's when you kind of realize how enormous they are. Let's have a look what's going on here. It's quite interesting. If you see that middle giraffe keeps sniffing the behind of that female giraffe in the front. So looks like a young male. You can tell that by his horns. They're quite thick. And what he's probably hoping for, and I know it sounds quite gross, is he's probably hoping for her to urinate. And if he did that, he would actually put his tongue into the stream of urine and test it. There's quite a lot of pheromones. You can tell quite a lot from urine. Even as people, obviously, you can tell if one's pregnant or anything like that. So with this, they have... They've got an organ called the organ of Jacobson, and it's at the back of their palate. And what tasting that urine does is it allows them to know whether or not that female's an estrus and whether or not he should pursue her and actually mate with her. So it's quite gross, but most mammals do it. It's quite interesting to see it all happening, and it's interesting that he's singling out that one female and not the rest. She must be giving off some kind of pheromone that makes him feel like she might be ready. So he's just waiting to test. He's saying quite close by to her.
KB, giraffe feed on quite a wide variety of vegetation, or of trees specifically, but so yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I think that it does vary from area to area, as vegetation does. Some areas they may prefer one tree to another. Here, obviously, we can see that they're feeding on the combretum. They also feed on a tree called a camel thorn, and that tree is named specifically because it is fed on by there, he's added again. Fed on by giraffe. Giraffe and giraffe are obviously quite similar to camels, just in kind of their facial features, not really the horns, but. And yeah, I think that they feed on the flowers of the weeping boer bean, but I think it'll be quite difficult for me to tell you whether or not, if they have a favorite, just because of how giraffe are stretch over quite a large area of Africa, and there are loads of varying trees in each of their different areas. Ross, that's a good question. I think that yes, they can jump. They've got extremely long legs, as you can see, and sometimes when they're running through the bush away from a predator, or if they've just gotten a fright, it's not just like running along a road or along a field where there aren't any objects in the way. There are often logs, fallen logs, bushes, rocks, and all sorts of other things that they do need to actually navigate and get their way around. So, yes, I think that they do jump. I mean, I've seen them jumping over small things. I won't be able to tell you how high they jump. It's another beautiful one here with the sun in the background. Holly, I am going to refer to my book for that, because I actually don't know. I hope my book will tell us. Let me get it out. All right, so my book says, wow, pretty big. It says that a male can weigh anything between 970 to 1,400 kgs. That is a lot. 1,000 kgs is a ton, so it's almost a ton and a half for a male giraffe at its biggest. For females, it's 700 to 950 kgs. And I'm sorry, but I won't be able to do any conversions for you, so I hope you work in kgs. But thanks for the question, because I didn't realize that they could get that heavy. That is extremely heavy. So see, I've learned something as well, which is pretty cool. And that one that we're looking at now is a male. He looks fully grown, but he doesn't look like an extremely enormous male. And just judging by what we've just read, I'd say he's probably, goodness, just doesn't seem like that's possible. Like a whole ton. Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. Just looking at him, it's quite hard to tell that he's that heavy. Anyways, I think that we're going to carry on. For now, we're going to send you over to Tswalu.
So we've just found this a unicorn. A unicorn. He's only got one horn, nice big kudu bull. And he's been just feeding slowly, but he's been listening to the thunder. There is a lot coming. Maybe if we're lucky, during our segment you'll actually see one of the lightning strikes, but you can see those sort of streams of rain that are coming down from the south. We've been seeing lightning in those clouds as well. But of course, because we put it on live, it won't do lightning while we go. But just the speed at which this one's come in has been pretty impressive. Beautiful sort of linings on the clouds out to the west. See, Morgan's doing a beautiful pan for you, but you can just see there is rain all around. And yeah, it's probably too far away for you to hear that, but you can hear the doo of the thunder. So we are in for a spectacular sunset, but I'm not too sure if we'll be out for the sunset at this stage. Oh, there's a steenbokkie. We don't often get these. He's going to try and sneak. He might sneak across the road where he's just behind that little bush. There he goes. You see him there? He's literally over my head. There's a little bush, and he's just behind that. Yeah, that bush there. A little bit left. That one, yeah, in the middle of the screen, behind that one. There! It's a female steenbok. Normally they dash away at such speed, but I don't think she saw us here, so she came out. That was a nice surprise. One kudu, one steenbok. Oh. Yeah, the South Africa countrywide has been having really, really good rains, so Tabiso is saying Tswalu always looks like it's either sunset or rain. It has been changing really, really quickly, but it's just that sheer temperature build-up. I mean, we've had 3 days of over 30 degrees over the last 3-4 days, and that heat that just builds up all that moisture in the air is why we're getting these big cumulonimbus clouds. We're going to slowly make our way, continuing away from the storm, and we'll catch up with you shortly.
Imagine having your own secluded African bush home where you and your friends can enjoy the ultimate safari experience. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, this could become a reality. Tumbeta House is located in the heart of Djuma Private Game Reserve, the home of WildEarth. You could win a chance to stay at this intimate wilderness retreat, offering you the rare and highly sought-after privilege of your own home in the bush. The prize includes 3 nights for 6 people and includes daily game drives, a chance to see the WildEarth camp, and have dinner with one of our guides. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the end of February 2021, and you could be heading to Djuma, the place that we call home. Available dates are limited, so terms and conditions apply.
So in 1998, we had this idea to go and put a live web camera on a waterhole somewhere in the Sabi sands next to the Kruger National Park. And I approached just about every single landowner, and everybody thought I was completely crazy until I met Yuri and Pippa Moorman.
We thought it was definitely a fun idea and a worthwhile thing to experiment.
And it immediately became a runaway success. And it gave people all around the world the opportunity to watch a little piece of Africa day and night. Back in 1998, It was the very early stages of the internet, and all we were able to do was to get a 30-second refreshing JPEG out of that camera. But over time, what we began to do is focus more and more on trying to develop this concept of giving people the opportunity to go on safari.
Even though we live just 500 meters up this hill, we still put the camera on to see what's happening.
Absolutely, we watch it ourselves.
My name is Taylor McCurdy and I work for Eco Training. I love hearing from all of the viewers. However, I particularly enjoy those of you who have been watching for a few years. Your questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on WildEarth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the live safari page and submit your questions below the live.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, we made the decision to kind of hang around with sleeping lions, and they are still fast asleep. However, our decision to stay has kind of paid off. We have just heard what I presume to be the other Ross male roaring. They didn't sound too far away, maybe a couple of kilometers or so, and it did kind of get their attention. They kind of all put their heads up, had a little look, a little listen, and kind of went back to sleep. However, I'm sure that that other Ross male is on his way here now, and that's the reason that they all didn't get too excited. It also might mean, if he gets a little disorientated and starts to call again, that this group might in fact roar and call and give their position away. It's really good to see them coming right back into the middle of the territory, close to where that other den site is, which is super important for the protection and the well-being of those three new ones. Even these 1-year-old or just less than 1-year-old cubs rely so much on these males for protection and ensuring that other males don't come into the territories. So I'm super excited to see what happens here. They're in a really nice open area, pretty dry as well. And obviously while he's roaring and while he's calling like that, he is advertising his presence to everyone and everything around. So I'm sure all the prey species will also be making some space. Nectar, will the breakaway pride of this pride and them ever reunite? It's a very interesting question, and I'm sure different guides are going to have different answers. They've been incredibly close once or twice. I remember watching a sighting in the western part of the reserve probably around a year or so ago, maybe more than that now, where they would have, I'm sure they knew that they were there, but they were only probably around 50 to 100 meters away, and the males were getting all very excited. The females were trying to distract them it was almost as if they wanted to, but it would be super, super interesting to see if they really recognized each other. I mean, I remember being told once that they lose kind of familiarity with one another quite quickly, and you'll often see, even with an interaction or a reconnection after a few weeks, it can be a bit tricky for them and a bit challenging to them. They really have to call quite a bit and smell for them to recognize. I don't think, for now, the Birmingham Pride and the Birmingham Breakaway Pride are going to rejoin, simply because they've got no reason to. The only reason that they would have to is if they are really struggling, and neither pride is struggling at the moment. The Birmingham Pride is sitting at 21 lions at the moment, which is a sign of super success, in fact. And the Breakaway Pride, the other day we saw 14 members, and then I think I saw another 5 or 6 members as well. Listen. Sorry, that other Ross male's busy calling. So you've got the attention of that lioness. Sorry, I was busy talking and I only brought my attention towards that. He almost seemed like he was further away from that. But they've got an incredibly good sense of smell. And if he does start getting a bit disorientated, I won't be surprised if his brother lying here does call. Big yawn by that female. And the male as well, another yawn by the female. Those are all good signs for them to kind of start getting up and moving around. At least, even if he is a little bit further away, that is a good sign that he is moving. So this is a great place to spend probably the rest of the afternoon and monitor and follow what happens here. I'm going to send you over to Lauren while we sit around and wait to see what happens.
Now, another epic sighting here on Tswalu, a waterfall, everyone. I've been desperate to show you all this. Not the biggest waterfall you've ever seen, no, but I'm just going to ask Bless to just zoom out slightly, and this is the overflow. This is how much the dam is actually overflowing. It's running onto the road and it's flowing into a drainage line. Look at that. Listen to the sound. Okay, that's the hadida, but you get the point. It's just so lovely listening to trickling water. And I've never seen Chitwa Dam this full. I've never seen it sort of flow over that concrete support there. Now, we had to leave Tandy to make space for others, but we're going to head back. We've obviously lost a little bit of light, but we're going to head back round there now that there's another space available. It's just so nice to see her and cub, and most likely they'll be there tomorrow. It looked like there was still a lot of meat left on that Impala. I actually like coming down this dip. It's the dip before the dam wall because you're almost eye level with the hippos. You're almost eye level with all the creatures that live in the dam. It's a different perspective. Okay, so I think we're going to head back round to Tandy now. There was just a few other vehicles that wanted to see her, but they have since left. So we are going to head back. Sarah, you're saying waterfall sounds are always soothing. Yes, 100%. 100%. I love listening to rain, water. It actually helps me sleep. On those days where I maybe can't sleep, listening to trickling water really does. It also encourages other bodily functions, but we won't go there. It's very soothing. I agree. Okay, so we're going to look back round and hopefully we'll get some more beautiful views of Tandy and Maribes, but we are going to send you across to Phinda with a beautiful view of the sunset.
Welcome back. Me and Simon just can't get enough of the sunset, so we decided to share it with you, especially since we've hardly seen the sun today. It's been kind of, hiding behind a whole lot of clouds, and it's just really, really making its last minutes count. Sure, it is stunning, and it just gives you a lot of appreciation for, just this area that we're in at the moment, because like getting up to this little high area with a little vantage point and looking out, it's just really, really makes you think that or feel just how lucky we are, and really, really great to share it with you guys as well. So beautiful noises as well. All the birds are just enjoy. There's also actually a herd of Impala watching us. Don't think you can see it. They're kind of like in the shadow of the mountain, or of the sun. And it's just starting to dip. I always find it so cool how quickly it goes when it gets to this point. It just suddenly zips down. There's nothing more peaceful than this. bird noises and a sunset. Really, really good way to end the day. Yeah, Laura Moore, that is a classic African sunset, and it's just about to dip. Sure. Really red-faced mouse birds calling next to us. And even just watching like the clouds changing color as the sun dips. Birds flying across. I think I thought they were hardy-doves. I think they're actually hornbills, so that's all right. Okay, we are going to send you over to Ngala. That was stunning. I feel revitalized after that. But we'll send you over to Ngala with their lions. We are also actually going to go and look for our own pride of lions. We'll see you in a bit.
Kim, good luck in that search for your pride of lions. Well, that Ross male, what I assume to be a Ross male, I might be very wrong, maybe the wrong assumption, the one that's roaring in the distance, hopefully on his way here, got them a little bit excited. That pregnant female got up, she kind of went and urinated to the side and got that Ross male quite excited. He got up very quickly, he just kind of smelt around. Now she's laid down as well, and he's back down as well. I don't think he's too far away. It sounded like he even walked through a dazzle of zebra. There was some alarm calling, and I'm hoping that he's not far away. It's going to be an interesting reunion. This male doesn't seem too interested in giving the position away. I reckon the cubs are quite interested to see the other male come in as well. I mean, this is the more dominant of the two Ross males, but they still work well together. They still need each other, in fact. And if he did, look how they've moved down the road. The one with her tail out there looks like it was that pregnant one, and one of the other younger ones moved right in front of her. All of these lions are now showing signs of getting up and moving around. And it's that time of the afternoon as well. Kim was just talking about how the sun is going down and how beautiful it is, particularly after rain. This lioness, you see how she's looking right down the road there? I reckon she's the one that's waiting. She almost looks like she's the most eager and the most keen for this other male to arrive. Keeping a good eye out down the road. So while she's facing there, her ears are facing forward as well, keeping out to listen for anything. Adash, what age do male lions start getting their manes? So it will depend on genetics, but normally around 2 years old, you'll start to see these manes start to grow and develop. It'll start like underneath their throats and underneath their chins, and maybe a little patch on top of their head, maybe just a little bit behind or in their ears a little bit. You'll see it start to grow in little patches, kind of like a new... Listen again. So that other male is roaring now as well. He's in the distance. Adash, I'll get back to your question shortly. Just trying to locate it in my own mind, try and see how far away he is and what kind of direction. It sounds like he's coming directly south of us. Ooh, big yawn. I wonder if that got her a bit excited. But anyway, Adash, as I was saying, you'll kind of see those manes starting to develop anywhere around 2 years old, plus minus, and you'll see them start in these little patches, and then it'll grow until it'll grow pretty much throughout their lives. You'll see as they become more dominant, like this Ross male, for instance. I remember when I saw him for the first time, maybe it was my imagination, but he did seem to have a much bigger mane. And Is he roaring again? No. But it almost seems like his mane got smaller as his reign continued in the Birmingham Pride in this territory. And one of my thoughts might be is that he has got an incredibly large territory to patrol. And he uses a lot of energy to get around there, and not so much energy has been put into growing that mane. He's also been defending his territory where he's had to fight other males out and push them out, which will also put pressure on that mane. I mean, that mane will act as like a kind of scrum cap to protect his head. And if it takes enough blows, it will also hamper its growth. So those years between 3 and 6 years old are incredibly important, particularly those years, to growing a big, strong mane. And you'll see, I mean, there are lots of dominant, big, strong lions, male lions, without big manes, and they still do very well. A mane is also a great intimidation factor. When you're kind of sizing up two lions and they're sizing each other up, if one's got a much bigger mane, it'll make them look much bigger and much stronger. And if an opponent is quite obviously bigger and stronger than you are, you might actually want to sit that one out and kind of forfeit the battle, just because it might mean an injury, and an injury out here is often the difference between life and death. Lots of grooming. Cubs are starting to get a bit active as well. Grooming, I'm surprised the cubs haven't become a little bit more active. Normally, cubs can often get quite excited when they hear other Pride members roaring and getting closer. They're also often the first ones in the evenings to get a bit active and a bit excited. They also know that they're not really, particularly at this age, going to be needing to do so much hunting themselves. Lots of watching and lots of eating as well. So that's what they're quite excited for. Listen again, that male's roaring. I think I might even go and try and find this male. He's sounding like he's getting closer. And these lions aren't showing much response at all. Now, I'm not surprised you can't hear it. I think the camera's facing the wrong way, and he is quite far. It's like I even have to stop talking to listen to him. I think I might go and try and find him. It'll be quite interesting if we do find him. Where is he? What is he doing? I would think he's on his way straight here, and these lions don't look like they're moving anywhere for the next short while. Maybe I'll give it about 15-20 minutes while I go and look for them. Go look for him. And maybe we'll follow him right back into these animals. Maybe he's coming with the rest of the pride. Can you imagine that? That would be quite cool. Maybe he's just sitting with the rest of the pride, just calling and advertising. Okay, so I think that's going to be my plan. I'm going to go down, I'm going to give myself 15 or 20 minutes, see if we can't find this other male while these guys are lying right in the road. And let's go see what he has to offer, and if he doesn't bring us right back here or take us right to the rest of the pride. I'll send you over to Lauren in the meantime.
We just had a really interesting moment there with an elephant who has clearly realized there's a leopard or two in the tree next to us. But then has now also proceeded to realize that there's marulas here. I mean, it's a choice. Enjoy your marulas or get upset about the leopards. It's a bit of a tricky decision. Oh, but it wasn't happy. Elephants are very reactive. Doesn't mean he necessarily saw the leopards, but smell, yes. Mareebs is also watching. Let's look at the leopard here, bless. You can see he's watching this elephant's every move. Just because he's curious. A curious young cat here. Just over here, he's watching. Oh, it's a big bad elephant. Now, Tandy still has not came down the tree. She's still up the tree. We don't actually have a visual of her at the moment. But Mareebs hasn't moved. He's still on the ground. I think if that elephant had came any closer, he would have just jumped up the tree. But luckily it didn't. I might see if at some point we can reposition and get any sort of view of Tandy, but I have a funny feeling she's snoozing. Oh, look at those eyes. Sorry, Gwen, you'll have to go one more time with that question from Dynamite. Could the elephant hurt Maribes? I don't think it would come to that. I think Maribes would just jump up the tree. Elephants are just very reactive. They don't like to be around predators, be it a leopard, be it a lion, be it a hyena, wild dogs. They don't like it. They can smell the predator. They could maybe hear the predator in certain situations, and he would have charged. But I think Maribes would have just ran up the tree, and that would have been it. I don't think there would have been any sort of actual physical encounter there. Prince Charming is very relaxed here. Oh. It's very sweet when you watch him. Every so often he looks up just to see where Mom is. He spots Mom, and then he looks away again. And then he checks where Mom is, and then he'll look back down again. So I'm going to stay here for as long as I can, but I believe Steve has some baboons on the dam cam.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, very cute indeed. We've got our baboon family now playing right in front of the dam cam. Let's see if there's any interaction between. You see, like that in the middle is a young boy who's he's not fully mature yet, but he definitely has dominance over the others. And if they've got some form of food or some form of feeding area, they will come along and take it. Everything is about size and strength in this family. Even this female who's coming along has got dominance over the youngsters there. Oi, that little youngster wants to play with the breeding female. Enjoying their marula fruits. Very human, isn't it? I want to play with that. No, I want to play with it. That youngster top corner is really playing, everybody. So this is live and wild and unedited. About 55 kilograms, I think, is a heavy male baboon. There's all sorts about to break loose now. I don't have any audio. I don't know if you can hear the damn cam, but that's all going to start breaking loose as these individuals start having parents coming in to get involved. This time of day, they will definitely be getting down to a little bit of relaxation. Grooming, last bit of feeding before the night. And Tyler, you want to know how they discipline their young? Well, they beat them. there's a lot of physicality. There's a lot of physicality. Okay, so I was just checking. I thought a male Chakma baboon got up to 50 odd kilograms, but my research sources are only telling me 40, which is not very heavy when you consider how much power they have. But just like any primate, just like humans, when you are being naughty, there is discipline. And discipline often takes in baboon society, often takes the case or the form of a beating. Often there's a lot of noise that goes on and takes over. You hear huge tantrums and screaming, and eventually mothers will come in and get involved with disciplining if the youngsters are misbehaving, and when it gets out of hand, the big boys will come in. There's quite something to behold when the big boys get involved, because it can lead to some serious noise and carnage. But unfortunately, everybody, they've all gone behind the tree. All gone behind the tree. Wonderful little party of baboons. Let's see what else we can find. But Lauren is enjoying her afternoon with Tandy and Maribs.
I am having such a wonderful afternoon, Steve. It's been a rough few days, and it's all been worth it. You've just got to have patience out here. It's not active every single day. Well, it is active. You don't find animals every single day, so you've got to have patience. And it's definitely worth it to see Tandy and Maribs. You can see he's young yet. I feel his paws don't quite fit his body. They're far too big. He's not grown into them yet. Everything catches his attention. He doesn't want to sleep. No. Does not want to sleep. And still no sign of Tandy. I wish she would come down so we could see her. I really feel Tandy's territory shifted once again. And it shifted initially when she had her litter. And I do feel there's been a shift once again. Even with Tlalamba, there's been a shift in her movements. I've not seen Tlalamba this time around, but she's definitely shifted. She's spending a lot more time further down south than she used to. And shifts are normal. Nothing in nature is static, not even territories. But I do feel Tandy has shifted slightly. Her territory appears to have gotten a little bit smaller. And she seems to just be moving, from what I can gather, from First Rock on Torchwood down to Chitwa, back up to First Rock, down to Chitwa. She's older, she's got a cub to protect. She's got competition from two of her daughters and Sabi. I didn't catch that name, but you're asking how do leopards keep their cubs safe from lions? Well, they just keep them hidden. They just keep them hidden in den sites. We touched on den sites a little bit earlier. And it's not just lions. Actually, lions are not really the threat, to be honest with you. The biggest threat to a leopard cub is most likely another leopard or a hyena. That's the two biggest threats, and they will choose den sites. Tandy's got a few den sites that she's used around here, and they're quite secluded, quite secretive, thick vegetation, and she'll only use that den site for a certain period of time because, of course, it will start to smell. It will start to smell like home, and that's exactly how they keep them protected. The cub won't, when it's very small, it won't follow mom everywhere. It's too small, it'll get tired quickly. So when they're very, very young, the cub stays in the den site, mom goes and gets food and then comes back again. But lions, yes, lions would kill leopard cubs, absolutely. But out here, that's really not the biggest threat that leopards face. The biggest threat any animal faces is a member of its own species. It's very nice of Tandy and Mareebs to have chosen this tree, actually. Not only is it a stunning fig tree, but it's also out in the open. It's very wonderful that they chose this tree. It's getting a little bit chillier now. You can see some nasty clouds rolling in, but we're going to try and sit here and enjoy this as long as we can.
It is fantastic seeing you all again. Those who haven't met me, my name is Dylan, in what is undoubtedly a very, very, very green Kalahari from what we were looking at a couple of months ago. We will be doing our very first fireside chat for WildEarth. So if you can join us on the 13th at about 7:30 after game drive, it would be an absolute pleasure. We'll see you there.
Sign up to become an explorer and join them by the fire straight after the sunset safari.
The reason why we see that wildebeest by himself is because he's a male, or a bull, as we typically would call him. And what he does is that he marks and defends an area. Essentially, he is looking for the ultimate piece of land, or prime property. Needs to have good grazing, needs to have a water source close by. And not too far away from here, there's a sickle bush thicket that would provide just enough shelter from the wind and the rain.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene, rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
My favorite animal is a leopard, purely because I just think they are just the epitome of feline grace and power, and the way they can move about in any environment and remain hidden until they want to be seen, I just find incredibly intoxicating, and they're amazingly beautiful.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
A hyena just chased Mareebs up the tree. I don't know which hyena yet. We'll get a view. I can't believe this. It always happens when you're not with us. The hyena came flying and Mareeb, they're right above each other. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go forward, bless. We'll get a better view. Bear with me. There's another vehicle in the sighting as well. How is that for you? There we go. He didn't jump that high up the tree. Of course, already at his young age, he will be familiar with hyenas. I mean, that video that I mentioned earlier that James kindly sent me was a hyena running at them. So they're not completely unknown to him. And he immediately reacted and up the tree, and he's staring it down right now. I wonder who this hyena is. I can't identify from here. I'm not that good, I'm afraid. Perfect ears, I can see that much. And look at Mareebs just sitting there staring at it. Look. The hyena, of course, will immediately pick up on the scent of a kill, especially if it's a relatively fresh kill. Wasn't here yesterday, that's for sure. Look at that, nice work, bless. Got them both in the frame and Chitwa Dam in the background. This is why I love Chitwa. I think it's just the best. It can be quiet, but when it happens, it happens. Stacey, you're asking, would a leopard
Capable of killing a hyena.
capable of killing? Again, this is all very speculative. I guess it depends on the scenario. Mareebs, no. Depends on the size of the hyena, the size of a leopard. A big male leopard like Tingana and a small hyena maybe like Sutu, yes, absolutely. But will they risk it? Possibly not. Hyenas have got such powerful jaws. One clamp down on a leopard's leg from a hyena's jaws and it's broken, it's snapped in half. Is that worth it? No, because they won't be able to hunt and they're solitary animals. But a big hyena like Hart's huge. And a petite little leopardess like Tandy is probably not worth her risk. But she absolutely could injure the hyena. It really depends on the scenario. It's also a numbers game as well. If it's 1-on-1, that makes a really big difference. So look at that. Than 4 versus 1. Mareebs is not... He's not scared. He's like, I'm taller than you. I'm king of my castle. I know you can't climb trees. And I'm just going to sit here and stare at you. If any of you managed to identify the hyena, let me know. I've not had a very good look yet. Tandy's coming down. Oh, they're both feeding there. How's the light, Davi? Do we need to go into IR?
Okay for now.
Okay for now. I'm just checking. We're losing a lot of ambient light here. Didn't catch that name, but I think with all the questions regard to hyena versus leopard, it's not worth it. So what you've got to understand about the environment out here is that they see each other all the time, and I'm convinced, I cannot conclusively say so scientifically, but I am convinced that the hyenas actually recognize the leopards individually by scent. Now, I don't think the hyenas will call them lovely names like Tandy and Mareebs, but they recognize that scent. I'm following this female leopard, I'm following this male leopard. I'm convinced of it, but that's by and by, I guess. They all cohabit the same space. This is touching on what I was sort of messaging, what I was saying earlier. The message I was getting across is that they live sympatrically. It would not benefit a leopard to be injured by a hyena, and it would not benefit a hyena to be injured by a leopard. There's no point in engaging in battle unless it gets very aggressive for some reason. And especially for leopards, because they do live a solitary existence. Okay, I think we're going to have to go into IR now, so the picture will change from color. So yes, they see each other all the time, they navigate the landscape together all the time, and there's actually videos, photos on that wonderful platform, YouTube, where you will see them feeding on the carcass at the same time in some examples, because they're competing, they want the same food. So in a leopard's mind, if it's a really large carcass and they're not able to hoist it, and they also want to feed, and the hyena also wants to feed, then they may actually feed on the same carcass at the same time. They avoid one another. There's no point in physical battles and confrontation when it can threaten the other's life. Hamdi? No, I don't think so. They're very accustomed to it from a very young age. They do eat rotten flesh, they do eat carrion, can be very putrid sometimes. And their digestive system will be very different from ours. Their immune system will be very, very different from ours. And they will have a much stronger, sort of more acidic stomach acid, which means it's lower down on that pH scale, which means it's very acidic, like hyenas, pH 1. And that normally means that as soon as the food parcel, if you like, enters into the stomach, the upper part of the stomach, after traveling down the esophagus, is going to be blasted with this acid. And normally that gets rid of any sort of disease-carrying pathogens and bacteria. And that's exactly why hyenas, at least, don't suffer from many of the diseases that others do. So the stomach acid of a leopard is not quite as strong, it's not quite as acidic, but it will definitely be strong, and they are equipped at eating that. Humans are not. Beth, you're asking, do leopards ever hunt in pairs? Oh, who's this? Can we just get a little bit of a closer look on this hyena, Bliss? I just want to see if I can get an ID. If it was mother and cub, yes. But generally speaking, they are solitary hunters. No view, I'm afraid. I wasn't able to get an identification from that. I feel it's a Djuma clanner, though. Oh, there he goes again. He's climbing up. I can't see Tundi anymore. We may reposition in a moment if he decides to stay on the other side of the tree. It's a nice accessory for this fig tree, though, I must say. Here he comes. There you are. I think he's hesitant to get back on the ground. He knows there's a hyena lurking down here. But I also don't think he wants to be in the tree. You better be careful, little one. I completely lost comms there, Gwen. I don't have anything. I heard David, and that is it. Let's try that again. David, that's a good question. I would imagine so, yes. He would probably not have the chance to see her, though. Dispersal normally means that he will disperse to an area further away. But I would believe that they would recognize each other, and I don't think it would be through sight. I think it would be through scent. They would recognize each other's scent, that unique chemical code that they all have. That's my personal take on that. But I don't think it's been proven. It's a very difficult thing to study. I mean, how do you study that out here in the wild? But I believe that he would recognize her and she would recognize him. I'm hesitant to reposition at the moment because he's moving a lot, and of course course, there is a hyena, if not more, actually, wandering around somewhere. Okay. We're going to stay here as long as we can, as long as there's not vehicle pressure, and we're going to send you across to Dan, who has found more lions.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Now, I've decided to come back towards where the rest of the pride were, and I'll tell you why shortly, as they walk literally right past us. Look at the little ones in the background playing. So why I've come back here is, lots of rain, tall grass. The other male was roaring maybe 50 meters in front of us. I knew exactly where he was. Look at this. Oh! Jeez. Quite aggressive playtime. And as this one also walks literally right in front of us, super cool. What a privilege to be so close to these amazing animals. And so comfortably and confidently, hey? Look at these two little ones. I wonder if they're not going to cause some trouble with the big male. See, the young ones aren't quite as confident as everybody else. They've made a little bit of space. The big male walking right past. Need duck to get out of the way, sorry. Look at him smell here. He's probably going to scent mark on this tree as well. There's another couple of younger ones that are playing. Rub his face right up in there. He's probably going to turn around and spray into the tree. And that'll be a great indicator for that brother of his that's coming. Look him turn, tail up, spray. And that'll tell his brother, who's not far behind here, exactly where they are. Look at that one up in the tree as well, Odie. Trying to climb a tree, it looks like. See if it does it again. Or not. But it's like they've got up and moved away. This male is quite keen for his brother to join. The reason I say that is because he's scent marked on this tree. And the other male that's been calling and trying to join up here, he has been zigzagging. I wonder if he didn't. He has been roaring almost continuously as well with no response from these lions. So what I think has happened is he's been trying to call. He's been calling, and I think he's been calling, moving, and then he's been following their scent because nobody's been reacting with a call. He had to follow their scent, and now these lions could have walked in an incredible S-shape figure of 8. Who knows how they walk to get to the position that they're at now. Look at that other male as well, still scent marking, urinating as we speak. You can see those black stains on the back of his legs as well from urinating and so often in scent marking. A little bit more obvious scent mark here. So it's amazing. As that sun's gone down, hey, everybody's kind of got active, moving around. Harold, why don't the young ones ever play with the big male? The biggest reason is, sometimes they'd like to, and you'll see even the older females sometimes tolerate play and they kind of like entertain it sometimes. But I was just listening to some elephants that were shrieking in the distance. But the big male often is very impatient with the little ones. And you'll see him often getting quite aggressive, and he'll give one snap and snarl. He actually ended up killing one of his cubs from the young male's litter. Let me try and see if we can follow them. They're right in the road, making our lives very easy. So he killed one of his cubs, I think unintentionally, but with a bite around a carcass to the back, actually ended up breaking one of the younger cubs' spines they were being too aggressive, the male. So that's why they often keep their distance. You'll see they sometimes try, though. They sometimes try to get closer to dad, and they'll push their luck until he snaps and then either swats them or bites them a little bit more seriously, and that'll kind of give them the message. And that's why they don't play. Although, look here, this one seems to be stalking and following. Let's stop here. Now, lions in the darkness are just everywhere, which is quite amazing to see. It's quite an eerie feeling, actually. You guys have got the advantage of having this amazing infrared light and this technology. But sitting around here, was thinking I can hear that other male. I'm just gonna... No, he's not right behind us just yet. But sitting here in the dark with where Odie and I are, I can't see these lions at all. I can only see them on my small little monitor that's next to me, and that's what you guys can see. And look at those eyes in the distance. That's quite amazing how the infrared will pick that up. Listen, that other male's calling. He's certainly zigzagging. He's now calling more west of us with no response. Come on, I'm desperate to see his brother here call. I'm sorry that you can't hear it, it's just been told, but I reckon in the next, 20 minutes or so, might be cutting it close for him to get here. But I'm really hoping, I really thought as well that this male was going to roar. Maybe even the rest of the pride was going to roar. I mean, it's not uncommon, particularly they haven't been together for so long. I mean, and lions are such social, gregarious animals. They really enjoy each other's company, particularly the females. And they need the protection of the males as well. So they're often rubbing up against the males and rubbing up against the females. And because they haven't been together, I was quite certain that this reunion was going to be a little bit more exciting, although it might still be, because that male advertising behind us is calling and everyone around can hear him. It's telling the rest of the Birmingham Pride, wherever they are, to maybe come towards him, and it'll be fascinating to see where they are tomorrow morning. I wonder if they're not going to be maybe at the den site that we've been checking in the past couple of days, maybe around the riverbed. They are walking right towards the riverbed. Nicanova, are there, Nicanova, are there any males around that could potentially threaten this pride? That I know of, no, not right now. I mean, just to find these Ross males, they've been, so we think, off the property for about 15 days, maybe even more than that. And I've heard no lions calling around camp. There were lions calling in the north this morning, but that's from where I am now, 15, almost 20 kilometers away. So that's a completely different pride. Not sure what pride it was. But no, I don't think there are any males around. And maybe a suggestion to why I'm saying that is these males are, the Ross males particularly, are notoriously good at running away. And that's been a really good survival strategy for them. It might seem like the kind of easy way out, but it's been one of the reasons that their pride has survived so well. And it's rather play smart rather than hard, I guess. And maybe the fact that he's advertising so much, and this male's been scent marking as well today, it might suggest that there aren't any males around and they're not really trying to run, because by advertising you're telling everyone where you are. And maybe by advertising you're chasing males away that are coming in, but not males that are kind of threatening them. And you'll see as well, after all the rain that we've had, these males, maybe the reason we haven't seen them so much as well is that they've got this huge territory to kind of patrol and mark. And when it rains, it kind of washes that scent away. So you saw that male who sprayed that guarri tree with his urine, and you saw him urinating in the ground and dragging his back legs. That'll all put his scent into the ground. However, when it rains, that scent will come off, and he'll need to redo that. And he'll kind of walk his whole territory in the next couple of days, re-scent marking, to let everyone know that it's his territory. So by roaring, urinating, and walking, I mean, even when he was dragging his back legs there, the scent goes onto his feet, so that when he walks, he transmits the scent wherever he goes. And it'll be interesting to see if these two Ross males are together tomorrow. Maybe they've been doing that for the past 15 days or so, kind of moving around, and it's been pretty much constant rain for 15 days as well, being separated, and they've been scent marking in separate areas because they work together to look after this territory, kind of separate. Although normally when they are separated for a few days, they are really quite keen to get together again. Okay, so I'm going to spend a bit more time here. See what happens. Let's hope something exciting happens in the next 15 minutes or so. I'm going to send you over to Djuma while I reposition.
My reeps just chased the hyena. Literally, the two of them were just standing next to each other. It was incredible. You got a really good size comparison. My reeps is not scared. My reeps, don't make us all worry about you. Michael, you think the hyena might be Falco. I think you could be right. Falco is an immigrant male, a relatively new one, named after Davov. He's got a hyena named after him. And I can't see the hyena with my naked eye right now. That's how dark it is. But my reeps just keeps chasing him off. Tandy's why can't I think of this word? What am I trying to say? Repositioned. That's it, Lauren. Tandy has repositioned the kill. She's moved it further up the tree. That was incredible. And in reality, the hyena is bigger than my reeps. My reeps is small. He's petite. Excuse our rain pole. We've got our rain roof on today. Oh, he doesn't like hyenas. Oh. There we go, 2 shot. Nice work, bless. Oh, and the hyena's sitting down. This is an extremely aggressive encounter. Oh, they're both sitting down. Well, in answer to all your questions, what would happen? There you go. Not much. Nikanova very far. We're on Chitwa. And the Djuma clan den is in the heart of Djuma, really, just a little bit further south of Quarantine, which is next to our camp. It's very much the heart of the property, and we're on a different property right now, so it is fairly far. This hyena is just not fussed. There's a young male leopard giving you the look of death, and you're really not bothered. Look at the two of them just staring at each other. And this is what I mean is commonplace. It's very, very common when a leopard does a kill, they will anticipate that a hyena will come. Look at all the insects buzzing. It's not snowing. It is snowing in Scotland right now. My family are all snowed in, but this is not snow, of course. This is insects that are reflecting back from the infrared light. It really, if this is Falco, and I think it could be, it wouldn't benefit Falco to get a bite from a leopard and have an open wound, and it wouldn't benefit my reeps to have any sort of wound from Falco. And therefore, they're very aware of each other's presence here. But not much is happening. He did chase Falco, but then, of course, the hyenas just returned. I think they've both probably gone to sleep now. And the hyena will just wait and wait and wait. Quickly over to Ngala.
Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. Currently sitting in some incredibly long grass, and have a look at how these lines disappear. The male's actually literally right behind us. He is hopefully going to walk right here. He's going to pop up on Odie's left very shortly. I mean, have a look how long this grass is. They are certainly hunting. Look at him. And watch him disappear. I mean, that's a big, tall lion, probably weighing over 200 kilograms, walking through this grass. And he's gone. Stopping, watching, listening. The females are up ahead, kind of doing all the hard work as usual. But he's probably 2 meters away from us. And he's completely gone. It's quite amazing. This grass is so long. It's such an advantage at this time of the year to these lions. I mean, can you picture it? I mean, you can see just how covered he... Oh, do you just look on the left here? Is this the other male, or is it another lion? So yeah, I'm also having a little look in the... It sounds like there's another one that's like walking right next to us in the grass here. I think it might be one of those cubs who are just walking in the grass and they're completely gone. Okay, Odie, I'll keep a lookout on the right-hand side. You can go back to that male. There are a few fireflies out tonight. I had a viewer who was asking me about fireflies. There are quite a few fireflies out this evening, which is awesome to see. Where's the male gone? He may have laid down. He's completely gone. He's probably sitting 2 meters away from us, hiding in the grass. I mean, this advantage of this grass, the night time, I would be absolutely terrified if I was not in this vehicle, firstly, and secondly, oopsie. And if I was a prey species hiding in this grass. Here comes a lioness, also right behind us. Odie actually got such a fright, so did I. Kind of moving through the grass in the darkness, and as I said earlier, you guys can see this infrared. I can see nothing. Oh, there's a lion. Hello. Like, that's the bar. This lion is sitting 2 feet. Oh, coming towards us again. Hello. Breathing. I can hear one breathing on my right-hand side as well. Oof, one's calling now. Oof, is this going to be the roar we've been waiting for? Sounded like it. Just some grass moving over there. There's another one that's just appeared in front of it. Here comes a little one as well. Odie, Odie right here on our right-hand side, right by me, yeah. Look at these 2 little ones. You just see the grass moving, sneezing. Odie's just said he can't even see where they are in the infrared. They're even playing. I mean, I can hear lots of running around, lots of chasing, playing, and I'm sure those are the little ones. The females are up ahead. The males probably lay down in the grass. That's why we can't see them at all. But this is quite incredible, actually. We're sitting in a complete darkness. And during the winter time, this would be completely flat. These lions would have no concealment and no cover. To do anything, we'd be able to see them lying right on the ground or walking. But seeing as we've had so much rain, this grass is probably there's a little call. It seems like they've even lost each other in this grass. They're contact calling at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to stick around here for the next short while, see if more lions don't just appear in this long grass. It'd be amazing to see them roaring right next to us. Maybe that other male will appear at some point in the next 5 minutes or so. I'll send you somewhere else for the time being.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Our bodies are made up of about 60% water, which means that in a very short space of time, you can dehydrate completely. A relatively efficient way of collecting water early in the morning is to take an absorbent material like a sock and to walk through the grass, absorbing the condensed dewdrops on the grass. Once the material is saturated, you can then squeeze it out into a container, or you can suck it out directly into your mouth.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at WildEarth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
My name is Moritz, and I come to you live every day from Tswalu Kalahari here in South Africa. My favorite thing is probably the predators, and as you can see, we're looking at some of them right now. These are the kings of the Kalahari. Spending time with the cats, it's just a privilege, and I love their behavior. You know, the more that you look at them, just the power and the sheer beauty and elegance of them.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
I promise you, we have not altered those colors at all. It's probably one of the most colorful sunsets I've ever seen. There's lightning on the right, and we did say we were going to be in for a spectacular sunset, but I don't even know how to describe that. I think I'm going to just do silent for a little bit and let nature do the talking while Morgan pans to show you the full extent of that sunset. So, what a statement from nature. That's just absolutely stunning. You can add in your little one-word tweets at the bottom as to how you feel that sunrise was. But thank you very much for joining us from all the different properties today. We are going to catch up with you tomorrow at 6 o'clock Central African time.